That's wrong. How about... It's not like it really mattered all that much, hey? But hey, how's everybody doing out there? Just making sure everything is all live, all good. Had a couple of additional things that I needed to take care of first and foremost. But hey, glad you are all here. And yo, man, shout out to Rumble. Man, Rumble's the fucking best. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. No shade to anybody who's watching currently right now on YouTube. I mean... But Rumble, man, you guys had my back, especially on Sunday, man. I had so much fun doing that little, well, it wasn't even a little stream, Christ almighty. It was 3 hours long, talking just Game of Thrones and shit like that. And shout out to my boy, Memetic, Militia. You were a big reason why I wanted to do Tuesday, okay? And so many people. And just harkening back to very early in my, content creation career, or whatever the fuck else you want to call it, it was all very important to notice who was watching the content, right? Because when you were getting when I was getting somewhere south of 10 views or something like that on every single video, and I was really thinking, I can remember the first video that I ever had that got 100 views, and it was the John Ratcliffe, he was the head of DNI at the time. It was the declassified document that, showed that Hillary Clinton was the one who was colluding with Russia. I know, big shock on that one. But that was the first video that crossed over, and then just taking a look at the comment section, and the first other just vehement fan base to cross over with mine was the Salty Army. Okay, admittedly, I've never watched any Salty content, okay? I have nothing against the guy or anything like that. It's just he streams at times that were inconvenient for me, but his fan base, his supporters, they are legit supporters, okay? Like Salty Army, the Salt Shakers and shit like that, always turning up everywhere that I go, and shout out to you guys. So, when I decided to start doing streams, I was trying to figure out, okay, where exactly everything was going to be lining up. And it's like, okay, who's streaming here? Okay, streaming during the week. It's like, oh, for fuck's sakes. I know a lot of crossover with like Timcast and Quartering, and I don't know necessarily when they stream, and I can't remember when Tim streams. I don't really fucking care at this point in time, but I know that Salty only streams like a couple of different times throughout the week. Like you got Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, because I just looked this up. And I've always been a little... off, or not really. I wasn't really sold on the whole Wednesday slot anyways, because it's like, for the stuff that I like to watch sometimes, it's like, Fresh and Fit, it goes live on Wednesdays, so just go ahead and push that off. And Tuesdays and Thursdays always seem to be wide open, and fuck, I knew exactly what we were going to be covering here today, so why not go live? So that's what we're going to be doing here, okay? I'll just go ahead and pull this up and make sure everything's all good. And yes, I think I got the appropriate shoutouts over on Rumble. You guys are piling in over there, and we got... It's weird what the fuck is going on. Yo, what's up, Wes? How's it going, man? No, it's hilarious, right? Like, I could show you the analytics on this. Do they still have it right here? Yo, I showed it to begin with, and frankly, I don't fucking care. But yo, take a look at this, right? So I just pressed the live button so everybody knew. It's like, okay, we're going to be going live, and I'm running an experiment when it comes to this stuff. I think Wednesday's going to be good. I think this is going to be the date to go. And then also, for me, it's 6 o'clock, wherever you guys are out. Shout out to you guys. That's where we're going to be going. But, okay, like, I'm in the chat. On my phone. I know Wes is probably in there as well, okay? And it had minus viewers. How the fuck does that even... How does somebody have minus viewers in their chat? This shit makes no fucking sense at all whatsoever. That's why I'm so fed up with YouTube, but... At least some of the videos are doing good, but in the grand scheme of things, like, Rumble's totally kicking ass, and I would love to be able to just exclusively do everything that I want over on that platform, but until that day comes... I've got nothing against YouTube, minus their shitty content policies. And yes, what up, Lord Stay Frosty, evening DKS, sir. We hear you loud and clear, 5 out of 5 clear stream, no frame drop. I really appreciate that, man. And I'm loving doing streams. And if you guys like to turn out for this type of stuff, I will definitely 100% be, I'll be trying to ramp up streams, maybe go down to 2 videos, because that's ultimately... That's ultimately my new goal for the channel, is to do 2 videos and then stream on whatever the most what the biggest story of the day is. And it was kind of a toss up between a couple of different things over here on, well, actually in the news cycle here today, but the one that I definitely wanted to tackle, okay, it's this panel right here, okay? And I don't even need to pull up the thumbnail or anything like that. But like I said, man, it is 54 minutes long. Okay, so I'm just going to, for the sake of brevity, I don't want to keep everybody here. It is a school night after all. I don't want to keep everybody here, yeah, for is longer than we need to. And like I said, if you guys caught the end of the previous, the Dylan Mulvaney, Bud Light, what was that, trans ballerina? Yo, okay, am I completely out of touch, or is that ballerina just absolutely not coordinated and under no certain circumstances outside of, well, it's just nice to see a dude finally take advantage of lower standards in order to get into somewhere prestigious. I'm tired of seeing the bar lowered for police standards and firefighters and all that shit, so no, turnabout's fair play, but that dude cannot dance at all whatsoever. But I made the announcement about covering this video over there, and like I said from the panel, I recognize a couple of faces, like the lady in the red, okay, she's been on F&F a couple of times. I think her name is Janelle Gordon. She's pretty based when it comes to this stuff, and it's interesting. It's interesting. When I seen this panel drop by Jubilee, okay, it's male feminists, just quite possibly the most detestable group on the face of the earth. Okay, like, is there anything that is wrong with society that you can't trace back to that just incestuous, nefarious-minded group of people? Okay, like, whenever there's an assault that goes on, oh, guess what? Male feminist, somebody who's overcompensating in order to try to virtue signal in order to garner support from a group. Male feminist. Oh, and then it turns out, oh, that they're the abuser in the group. Oh, big shock on that one. Who has the most skeletons in their closet? Male feminists, because they aren't honest with their motives. Oh, I just want to be a friend with a girl. Spoilers, there's no such thing as just being friends. If you're in company of a female outside of some business arrangements and shit like that, and here's one thing, I don't ever advocate for, the fucking any of your coworkers, even if the policy is fine or anything like that. That'll just ultimately end up, it never ends up going well. I've got some stories to back that up, but we can get into that at a later date. But just don't dip your ink, don't dip your quill in company ink, if I could find an older saying to cite. But where the fuck was I going with that one? But anyways, it all sounded good. Nice ramble to begin with. Oh, yes, male feminists being terrible. I think I kind of drove that into the ground. But then for female anti-feminists, kind of noticing something with that group of girls, okay? Like Janelle Gordon, the one in the red there. When you turn around, you can see her face in the thumbnail, and that's probably the least flattering picture of her. Because she's not that bad, but she's also, like, 46 years old. Like, she's well past her prime. Nothing wrong with it. She's got a nice tit job and all that shit. Same with the lady who's sitting next to her, who does look like Rollo Tomasi's protege, Tori. All she's going to do in this, I haven't watched a minute of this roundtable or this little panel that they have here, whatever they call it, middle ground. I haven't watched a second of it, but I have seen Tori on these types of panels before. All she does is just poorly parrot Rollo's talking points and just ham-fistedly work in different sayings from one of his many, many books. Female feminists, or female anti-feminists, only start to take up these terms once they see or hit the wall. They don't actually fucking care, okay? But are they helpful? If they actually agree and they're congruent with their beliefs, yes, of course, they have a role. But it's kind of like Pearl, the Just Pearly things. I think her show is kind of awful, but herself, like, she knows her talking points, okay? But is she genuine in her belief of trying to forward the manosphere, red pill talking points? She said on multiple occasions she's an entertainer first, so I don't necessarily know what to do with that. Like, I don't watch the show. I see some clips every once in a while. Same thing with the Whatever podcast, which I think is just, it takes all of the aspects that makes Fresh and Fit successful, at least from an outsider's perspective, but then also doesn't realize that no, people stick around for the value that Myron provides and tolerates Fresh and Chris. But no, it's interesting. Anti-feminists, female anti-feminists. I don't know, man, because I've seen like the likes of Cassie J. If you guys remember, if you're an old head in the chat, you might remember her pushing the Red Pill movie, and that was 2015 or 2016. It's been a minute, okay, and that effectively killed off the men's rights movement, which was proto Red Pill, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And like I said in the stream, I think, concerning Tate, okay, my definition of Red Pill, if we want to get down to what the talking points are and have a proper terminology list here, it's basically male self-improvement. That's what I would consider it, okay? Not just in like physicality or mindset, it's understanding the entire world. It has nothing to do with notch count, okay? Because if you base everything on the subjective opinions of another person, you're fucking losing, because you're always going to be at their beck and call, and you're never going to be furthering yourself for yourself, okay? So that's why I'm always a little trepidatious whenever I see a woman try to adopt Red Pill talking points. It's like, yes, you kind of want attention. That's what I'm seeing, okay? So I think I got all the terminology out of the way. I'm just going to go ahead and check all of the streams I'm going to check both of the chats here, make sure everybody is cool, make sure everything is ready to go. And here's the only thing. I just don't know. I don't know if this is copyright, or if it's copyrightable, or Jubilee has a copyright put on top of it, so we don't end up with like a Tate stream situation where it gets taken down on YouTube. But thankfully we are streaming over on Rumble. Do I got it pulled up right here? Yeah, and you guys are just absolutely blowing it up. Yo, we got Bree, we got all the regulars over there. You guys are just fucking super based over here. I love it a lot. Manage the Daily Wire social. Yeah, Pearly is exactly. No, for sure. Yep, you guys look like you're all ready to go over here. Got that one there. I'm in. Yeah, Simps. Yeah, that's for true. Video, man. Yeah, I think I got a good decision, because we got some people turning out here, and everybody who's talking is saying that, you guys are salty for life. So I'm just, if this works out well, which I'm kind of thinking it's going to, okay? Wednesday's going to be the slot, and if it goes down, if you guys are watching on YouTube, okay, if it goes down, we'll still be over on Rumble, but I'll be working to make sure that it doesn't stay down for long. If it does, I don't know for sure. I have no idea, but there's going to be a lot of additional context put over top of this. Just let me know, guys. If it sounds good, I can monitor the levels when it's over here. Okay, and and I also have the speed multiplier on for a quarter. So if we want to go up a little bit, let me know. Otherwise, if it's good, we'll let her rip. So, without further ado, I also got closed captions on, so just in case you wanna listen without sound. So, let's crank that bitch up. I need my sound control because I don't want to have my earphones blown out. God damn it. Okay, so I need to have a little bit of sound for Christ's sake. So, let's. Oh fuck! Why is that interfering? Oh my god! Wireless mice sometimes. I tell you, Jesus. Trying to be a professional over here, and the fucking thing's broke. It's got no words on it. Fucking thing sucks. All right, let's roll.
Can I ask you a question, though, or ask the group a question? There's more world leaders who are male, and typically I think
good, that's a good thing. Women should not be in positions of extreme leadership like presidents, et cetera, because we're too emotional.
I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now.
Okay, I know that definitely a buzz clip that's in there, but it's a statement I would tend to agree with, and you just take a look. Okay, like, it was very, very hilarious, especially during the pandemic. Oh, women leaders are doing it better. But now you just run the numbers back that they were touting. It's like, oh, look at excess mortality rate, or whatever they were for New Zealand. I can't remember the specific ones, but what's she doing? Oh, right, Jacinda Ardern, fucking out of there. Oh, and Finland. Oh, don't mind the party prime minister. Oh, she's doing such a great job. What just happened? Oh, what was that? Oh, she just lost her election. Oh, sucks to suck, I guess. And how's Angela Merkel doing? In retirement, right? Fantastic.
If you agree, step forward. Women have more privileges today than men.
Yeah.
I went back and forth on this one, thinking about the difference between more and different. I think women have distinctly different privileges than men have, but
I think, let me just run that back. Okay, so I don't know who is in... Yes, she doesn't look familiar, but I think that one right there, she's the PragerU Brett Cooper. I think that's who that is.
Difference between more and different. I think
Oh,
women
right,
have
okay.
distinctly different privileges than men have. But
Just
with
go
this
ahead
new
and
feminist movement that is arising, more of the third, fourth wave, we are finding, I think, that women are placed and pedestalized above men in a lot of ways. There's affirmative action
That's a pretty
hiring
big
and
name.
scholarships where women, sometimes even regardless of academic standing or achievement, are prioritized above men. But men also have different privileges that they get to access. I struggle to say more, but I think I do agree with the feminist movement. Now there is more.
If you were born into this
Just give me 1 second. Somebody in the YouTube chat needs the Rumble link, so it's just easier to do this. There you go. That should work right there. Sorry about that. I appreciate the patience.
life with a vagina, you inherently have 10 times more privilege than a man.
What's
From
inherent?
the time they are little. Girls are always like doted on and you're so pretty and cute.
Very coddled.
They're coddled,
Yeah.
right? As they should be, you know? And nurturing energy in them. You can kind of be a degenerate woman and have a hot body and be a millionaire on OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's for true. Like the way that they just laid it. Well, the way that I'm pretty sure her name's Janelle. I don't know why they haven't given them name tags yet or anything, or maybe I'm just totally missing that. But the way that she laid that out, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's really easy because I think we all know. I think we're all adults over here. That women's prime agency. Okay, their currency in the sexual marketplace is their looks, and for men, it's what kind of value. Okay, their financial, their supportive, their protective nature, all of that stuff you have to acquire. You're not just intrinsically born with it. Sure, if you're tall, like when I was growing up, like I grew up like a weed until I've been over 6 feet tall since I think 6th grade, but I can't quite remember. Like it's been a long time. Okay, so yeah, I was given accolades for that, but if I couldn't back it up with any of the intrinsically masculine value that was there, it would just be pushed to the side. I don't know this for sure, and there's no way to run a test on it, but guys who are tall and have absolutely nothing else, because that's one of the key features, and that's one of the attraction triggers that women look for, is, well, it's underlying the height is the whole security value. Sorry, I just need a drink of water, but still, no, if you're tall and you can't back it up with any humor, with any intelligence and no articulation, they just look at you like they've been cheated. It's like, oh, for fuck's sakes, I finally found somebody that's over 6 feet tall and he's a dullard. They feel robbed off of that, okay? And there's no way that I can run a test on this, okay? So short guys that don't offer any value, I don't know if it's just lowered expectations. It's like, okay, that motherfucker's 5'6". Okay, he's a little bit goofy. Well, he's 5'6". What would you expect? But somebody who's 6'3", okay? And it's like, oh, all that wasted potential. There's no way to quantify that or anything. So yes, women, of course, you're just lauded for your looks because you have the certain amount of time, okay, where you're just at your peak value, okay. And so you're just heaped on that when you're growing up. As for men, though, when you guys, because I'm sure we're probably all men in the chat here, I would hazard a guess, okay? Because when you first meet another guy, what's the first question that you say after? Oh yeah, what's your name? Oh yeah, Jack. Jack, what do you do for a living? That's normally the first bit of conversation. If it's not question number 1, it's question number 2 or question number 3. It's right up at the top. And shout out to Myron. This is what he says when it comes to when women interact with each other, and I can totally back this up, but that's just where I heard it. Okay. He's saying, okay, when women first meet, it's like, oh, who's your boyfriend? What's your family situation like? Something to that effect. So it's always based on male characteristics are always based on the value that they can provide. Female characteristics, or female value is always based on their physical characteristics. So just a little bit of context.
Men don't have that privilege. Now, women don't have to work to get a guy. They're just hot. And then guys come to them and spend their resources on them. A man has to prove himself. He has to build a body. He has to make money. He has to build influence. He has to become a protector, a provider. Women just have that naturally by just having a vagina, as I
That's
said.
why it's frustrating, because the feminist movement has been all about women acting like they don't have rights and acting like they have it pretty hard in the modern day world. I can't think of a single thing that I don't have that a guy has, or
that they only have. I would say the
that
one
they
thing I
only
would
have.
say is the safety thing. That's the only thing that I would say, is that women are disadvantaged from, by nature, women are not as physically strong. I mean, you're physically strong, but as physically strong.
I'll take it.
It's great bicep.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just that unhealthy fear. Okay, they're just gonna harken back to, okay, you're walking down the dark alley, whatever. The stereotypical idea that at midnight you're walking around alone and you're just not gonna feel as safe as a man. Here's the thing. So I'm 2 and some change, 6.5 feet tall. Live in Grand Prairie, Alberta. Okay, so I'm disassociated from any large urban area. It's we have a service area of 75,000 people. So it's not a big city. It's not a big city, but it's not a rural bumpkin city. I still, once the sun goes down, I ain't walking anywhere outside of my place. Fuck that shit. I see way too many hobos roaming these places. I don't intrinsically feel safe. That whole safety thing is incumbent on me, taking it upon myself. So I understand that that's a popular talking point. It's like women don't necessarily feel as safe, and that's the double standard. But I'm telling you, man, you got to take your safety into your own hands.
And men just are. And if you're walking down a dark alley as a woman, you're going to
I swear to God, I did not pre-screen this.
feel some type of way sometimes,
That's
right?
why we need guns.
Well, there you go.
I'm going to
Shout
talk
out.
a little bit more about like the judicial system. When it comes to, let's say, domestic dispute, if a woman calls the police, they automatically show up, arrest the man. This the Duluth model, I think is how you pronounce it.
Jesus Christ. She just literally, okay, did she have an original thought in her head? Nothing wrong with Torsia, okay? Like, she's got a nice tit job. But outside of that, man, it's just legitimately, okay, what is that? Like chapter 2 of positive masculinity. Like, for fuck's sakes, man. It's like, yeah, Duluth model of feminism. What is that? Mandatory arrest. If somebody in, I think, like 30 or 40 states, there's a mandatory arrest. So whenever there's, a DV case that pops up, somebody is going to be getting arrested. And like 80 to 90% of the time, it's going to be the dude, outside of just clear examples. If there's like blood on the guy's neck, okay, if he's got the black eye, if he's the one with the bruises, outside of obvious cases like this, the guy, even if it's his house, even if it's his hotel room that the police officers are called to, he's the one who's out for the evening. That's just the fucking way it goes.
Pronounce it. And that's already in place. It's not necessarily like a right or anything, but it's certainly in all of the police departments.
Oh shit, I missed that.
Is if feminism is all about
whatever, it
equality,
doesn't really much matter.
why
I was
would
just
you
gonna read
automatically
Duluth.
arrest a man? When they arrest him, his name is in the newspaper automatically. The fact that a woman can say Jane Doe and she doesn't have to put her name out there, what skin in the game is there?
And there's so many instances of that. I know men personally who have had domestic violence within the relationship with children involved, unfortunately. And the woman attacked the man in front of the child, and he's still, I know 2 instances personally, and he's still fighting to get the child back. That's from the Me Too movement. Congratulations. You guys got that.
It kind of invalidates the women who do come forward and who have faced rape and sexual assault and all of that, because then it kind of turned into a Twitter hashtag.
That's correct.
I don't know. Is this? I'm gonna ask your guys' opinion on this. Okay, I don't buy that talking point. Okay, I would think that it's the opposite, but I can see where they're coming from on this one. Okay, I'm not trying to invalidate that or anything. What my opinion on this is okay. So you have all of those fake allegations that end up hitting social media, but the women who obviously have like the most horrific shit in the world happen to them, okay, because that's a woman's ultimate fear, sexual violence to be committed against them. Subsequently, for a guy, it's raising a kid that they find out later isn't them. Shout out to all of those clips on Twitter that I've been seeing recently. There's this one guy raising a kid for 11 years, and then the mom comes over and it's like, yeah, it's not yours. There aren't terms strong enough that I can say while still simulcasting on YouTube that I would like to say about a situation such as this. That's why it's incumbent on you to vet your man, or to vet your woman. Pause. But still, okay, so what was I saying on top of that? Yes, so the charges, okay, that end up hitting social media, the ones that obviously end up coming out to be false, Amber Heard, the Tate girls, the Trevor Bauer stuff, but it takes third-party different intermediaries in order to act on those false allegations. So as long as there isn't a simp presiding over your future, you're going to be all right. But the girls who have, yes, the legitimate claim, the legitimate evidence, they take it to the court, or yeah, they take it to the courts. Then there's just a natural sussing out process. So that's the way that I see it. It's like the legitimate claims, the ones that actually go before the police officers. Those ones have a little bit more validity in today's day and age, but you don't see those all that often. The ones that you see are the ones that you see on social media. That's just my take on it. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on that as well.
Where women were like, oh, you know what, I'm going to join. Like, this seems fun. Like,
For clout.
it's not
I think
fun.
it's a mix. I think it's a mixed bag. I don't think the Me Too movement was inherently harmful. It's the Me Too movement when you
Right.
couple it with something like believe all women. That's when it
Yes.
becomes
And the
inherently harmful.
victimization
It
of women who
encouraged people.
aren't really victims.
The prompt is, do women have more privileges? We have privileges simply by virtue of being women. We have privileges with affirmative action. We have privileges in family court, and we have privileges as far as being believed and forgiven. It's that's something that should be acknowledged.
That's correct.
Can I have the disagreeer step forward?
I appreciated the distinction of more
Oh my God. What's the first word that comes to mind?
versus different privileges. You can't just use a broad brush and paint the entire debate and say, all right, well, this is men have more than women, that's it.
Of course his name's
women that must
Mason.
inherently then have no privileges. That's not how it works. And that's where we start to get into the idea of like intersectionality, where another woman
What's the bet that this guy subscribed to Destiny?
who had a different experience, if it was a trans woman, if it was a woman of color, if it was
But
a
I
woman
don't
who
think we're
was,
including trans women into feminism.
and I think we definitely should.
I don't
Like,
think we should.
Carl.
I think that trans women should not be a part of the feminist movement because a man, just because they, wake up and feel like they can be a woman one day, could come in and then suddenly know what it's like to have a period or know what it's like to have a child. It's anything from men replacing women in sports to men replacing women on podcasts during Women's Month and when we're talking about women's health, or you've even got biological men who think they're women going to the White House speaking on behalf of all women.
Oh, for that reason, for all of the reasons that you just described, that's why I want trans men in the conversation, just to bust off that stupid narrative. And it's like, oh, cool. You voted for all this stuff and now you're getting the consequences. Oh, what? Now you're learning about accountability? It sucks to suck, I guess.
I have a question for you based on the prompt, though, because you've lived in both experiences, at least socially. I'm curious, when you transitioned to male and people started perceiving you as male, like most people did today,
Of course,
what privileges
that's
changed
why.
for you, or what did you see enter your life that you didn't have before?
yeah, and that's sort of where a lot of my beliefs in feminism do lie, is because being out into the world as a gay woman was the way I was seen. Men treated me definitely not nearly as well as they did. I was bullied in school. I had people call me slurs, and it seemed like it was because I was.
Well, I'm thinking of one right now. How is that unique to your experience, though? Raise of hands in the chat. Have you also been bullied when you were growing up? Oh, wow. Yeah, very unique. I might as well just cut my dick off right now.
Threatening to like the male structure that we are in, where it's like male and female, because I was a female who liked females, I was somehow infringing on that, and so they didn't like me. Things change naturally when you socially transition and are perceived by the world in a different way. When I transitioned from being perceived as female to the world to just pretty much passing or blending full-time as male, was that I got a lot more respect from other men. People listened to me and took me seriously. In a social passing setting, people aren't going to harass women who are around me if I'm walking with them at night, which is just a benefit I never thought about.
With caveat.
Oh, so what you're saying is men are deductive problem solvers and they were actually more helpful when you were trying to explain to them all of your troubles instead of just your incredibly supportive girlfriends that would just listen to you vent and then just try to one-up your stories? Wow. Again, very unique stories you have there, Mason.
Actually, so I say that, yes, there are some privileges that women have that men don't, but also there's privileges that men have that women don't. I don't think women are more privileged in our society because I could get a woman pregnant and I could just run away.
They could get you
Well, they
for
can get you
child
for
support.
child support, which they
Wait, are
do.
you saying she can't run away?
Go to jail.
You
They
can't,
could
she
take
can't
your
run away
money.
from the pregnancy?
But you
Yeah.
could
But
actually
yes,
physically leave.
Leave.
I
I
know
can
what you're
physically
saying.
leave. At the end of the day, I don't see women having more privileges than men because we don't have the same, there's no way to objectively measure it.
Well, and in the scenario that you pointed out, I mean, if a woman was pregnant, she wouldn't be able to get an abortion in most
In some
parts
states,
of the country.
yes.
No, that's actually not true. I think, most parts of the country, there's only one small place in the southeast where you'd have to have a considerable drive, but normally there's going to be bordering states that are, just going to take care of your needs in some form or fashion. I think it's 26 states that have some sort of an abortion ban, but even still, that starts at the earliest at 6 weeks. Other places it's 15. Others it's third term, or you can be up in Michigan. They just passed the law, or Gretchen Whitmer, of course she did, and it's like you'd kill all the kids up in Michigan. That's a joke, YouTube. Fuck off. But no, I'm pretty sure they just copied. I didn't look at it fully. I just know that it's all the way up until birth for Michigan. It's not quite as bad as California, but I'd have to run the bill back. But no, you just can't get them anywhere. That's just patently false.
Yeah.
In some states,
That's a major disadvantage.
Yeah.
How
You
so? Sorry about that, but there is so many different 29 forms of birth control for a woman. Okay, if you manage to let one slip past the goalie, there's this word that I know, even for male feminists, it's called accountability. Okay, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Just saying.
An abortion, but children can go get a gender change at 12 with a
Feels
parent
like you're
at
very
15
fixated on that.
without consent.
That's not true.
Feels like you're very
as
fixated
someone who
on
went
that.
through
I know the laws as well.
I went through this.
I know, in some states you can, and in Thailand you can go at 16 and get your everything cut off.
Guys,
Yeah.
it's less than 5%.
I know.
It
It's such a
doesn't
small-
matter.
it's such a small
It doesn't
subset
matter.
of the
Like,
population.
But you can't say that about, it does matter though. When you have a child, you're not a
That's
parent
between
yet.
the parent and the child.
Dude, can I ask you a question though, or ask the group a question? There's more world leaders who are male, and typically I think
Good, that's a
leadership.
good thing.
I know it's
Well, he
weird
was
coming
talking
from me,
about-
but I
Here we
do
go.
want to know. It doesn't bum you out that it's less likely for a woman to become president?
I don't feel bummed out because I know that if I want to pursue something that I want to do, I have every capability to do it in this country.
I don't feel
Yo, shut up. Not having a victimhood mentality. Oh, it's like you haven't seen somebody there. That means that you're never going to achieve it, right? And it's like, okay, maybe I want to be the first female president. Not me, though, but just speaking as a woman on that topic. It's like, no, I'd like to see myself there up at the top. It gives me something to strive towards. But, of course, the mental point of origin is like, oh, no, what is everybody else going to think about me on this one? And it's like, okay, cool. Get out of your own way. You might be able to achieve something. It's kind of magical what you can accomplish once you get out of your own way.
bummed out. Women should not be in positions of extreme leadership like presidents, et cetera, because we're too emotional.
I'm feeling a lot of
too.
emotions
Men
right
can be
now.
impulsive.
Very
I'm not
much.
saying that men can't be emotional.
Like we had a
Men are
president,
more
we had a president
logical.
who would literally just
And now
go
we
on
have president
Twitter
whose
every
brain
day,
doesn't
every
work.
second.
Wait,
Yeah, and he also had a president that would just like literally go on a drone and blow up a bunch of Syrian schools.
1% so she can hear us.
To be logical and to be sound is not something defined by gender. It's just something defined by your own
The
psychology.
left and right brained, it
That's just
actually
false.
is though.
That's
That's
just
not
false.
false. It's not
Come
false.
on, man.
It
Come
is
on.
not
Really?
false.
Really?
Your question about leadership, I think, is a very poignant question because a lot of people are asking that. Why don't we see more female presidents?
Holy
Why
shit.
don't we see more female CEOs or Fortune 500 companies?
It's
and
fucking
again, It
hard.
goes back to those gender differences. There will be women who will be exceptions to the generalized rule of what it means to be feminine, and those women you will see succeed in extreme leadership. But we should also discuss what the conditions of extreme leadership are. We're talking 80-hour work weeks, subscribing
Yes.
yourself to your career
Hey,
and nothing
shut
else.
up.
Growing family,
And
children.
psychologically and biologically, women tend to lean in the direction of not making those choices for themselves, while men are highly competitive, they are highly analytical, systematic, they're willing to put in that time and take extreme measures to gain career status.
Exactly.
But in an
Perfectly
egalitarian
said.
society, it's about having that choice to make that decision.
Yeah, you don't have a choice to wake up one morning saying, I want to be the CEO of Microsoft today. No, you have to climb the company or corporate ladder just like everybody else in order to achieve some level. You can't just wake up and demand some stuff. That's where Jim Bro there is really quite off. And why out of well, maybe it's just emblematic of just the male feminists in general, but why do they all just have that lisp? I'm just wondering.
Yes,
That's what feminism
but we
is about.
do,
It's
but
about
we already
having-
have that choice.
We
If
do have that
I want to go
But
own
it's
my own
being-
company,
it's
I
being
can.
restricted.
Like I said in the beginning, we've all agreed that the beginning of feminism was going in the right
Humanizing
direction.
women,
It
right.
was humanizing women. It was making them equal to men. It was giving us the same opportunities so that we can go vote, so that I can go get a job, so that I can drive a car. Like
She can
there's
run for
other
president if she
countries
wants.
that I know that we weren't talking about other countries, but if you want to talk about feminism, go protect the women who get beat up for driving a car in other countries.
Men are falling behind in society.
I just think, I mean, we
Oh,
have
okay.
amazing men here today.
Interesting.
It's an honor
thank
to
you.
be on this
You
panel
really
with
know
you, to see this masculine energy. However, I know that men
Where?
are not able to be men anymore. Because of the feminists, modern feminist propaganda, I coach men in my practice and they tell me like, I don't even know what I can do on a date.
Oh, if you don't know who Janelle is, I have no idea what the fuck she did to her forehead, but that's just retarded. She's a sex therapist. I'm pretty sure that's what she does. Okay, and yeah, no, she's actually pretty based. And again, it's that post wall. Okay, like she realizes that she wasn't getting the attention. She didn't have to think about any of this stuff back in the cut, but then she adopted the ideas. And given the fact that she has skin in the game, I'm pretty sure she has a kid as well. Like it's been a minute since I've watched anything that she's been on, but once Yeah, fuck it, I'll just say it. Once women have skin in the game in the form of, I need to start understanding men in order to get the same amount of attention I used to for just simply having a pair of tits, or they have a son that they need to bring up in today's society, then they start to understand the game more than just at the surface level. Okay, so that's why, I don't know, the girl who's wearing the long black sleeves is like, I don't know, she burnt like over 80% of her body because she seemed, well, actually, no, she's only taken like some of the talking points at the same time. I don't know if she fully is committed to everything, but what she's saying so far sounds all right, but she is missing a couple of things, like saying, oh yeah, women just wanted to be equal. Yeah, and we just wanted the right to vote. And it's like, well, okay, cool. So that was overcompensated because guys, like at the founding of the United States, okay, the founders only wanted to hear from the citizenry that had skin in the game. I would love to go back to a system like that where you're a net taxpayer, you're a landowner, you are a job creator, some sort of skin in the game. Okay, and as for women though, they were just granted universal suffrage. Fan-fucking-tastic. No skin in the game, and it's played out like it has right now. And how's that going for everyone? Equality.
Anymore. Can I ask a woman out? Am I going to get in trouble for this now? Like, I really like her. I kind of want to put my hand around.
Oh, sorry. Catcalling laws in the UK. It's a legitimate thing. Oh, yeah, and I'm sure that there's probably something nefarious that I'm missing up here in Canada.
On her waist, but maybe that's going to, I'm going to be all over social media, this kind of thing. And I think men don't have the balls anymore to just stand up and be a man, be dangerous, be fierce.
I want to respond to a lot of what you said.
Please.
Does anybody else want?
You make a really interesting point. However, I feel like a lot of the reasons why men can't actively express masculinity in a positive way is because of the patriarchal structures that we have. Part of what I'm coming with this is I'm trans. So I was born female.
We know, we've heard.
I present as male. I came out socially and medically transitioned at 18.
Okay.
The feminist movement is what helped me feel empowered enough to be who I am and be a man.
And no disrespect to your process. I know it's a very strenuous thing that you go through, but I see a woman still. I feel feminine energy from you.
That's all right.
Well, to be fair, if you've been out in public recently and you see guys that are walking around, sounds a lot of feminine energy.
So when you say you're a man, then it's like, I don't see that.
The way I think about it is more like about individual choice and individual freedom. And if I want to say that I have feminine energy and people view me as masculine or vice versa, then that's their problem, that's not my problem. And for me, that's what feminism is about giving people the choice to act in accordance with however the hell they want to.
But that's a very dangerous society.
That's not how feminism started, though. Yeah, we went from, wanting equal rights for women and equality for women, and now it's
humanizing women, right?
Humanizing women, making it to where I think we all agree, women now are equal to men, and with like third and fourth wave feminism, especially fourth wave feminism, it's kind of turned into individuality, like you said.
Okay, I retract everything that I was saying about her before, because she brought up the third rail, especially for me. Like there are certain phrases that I hear every once in a while, and I'm trying to respond to more people in the chat. Okay, I'm trying. It's a one-man show, for Christ's sake. Shout out to Ed, by the way. Ed, you're the fucking man. But no, it's just like saying, it's like Ron DeSantis is like Trump without none of the baggage. If I hear that one more time, I'm going to blow my fucking brains out. But no. She said the mythical fourth wave feminist. That is all of the baggage, all of the stupidity of third wave feminism. We like our women's with vaginas and our dudes with the dicks. Okay, it's like, oh, it's so based and red pilled. I just gave you props, stupid. God damn it! Why you gotta do this to me?
Take a man to tell me how to be a man. It doesn't take a woman either. I can define myself as a man how I want to.
Yeah, that's not how words work there, stupid. Okay, I can be a man depending on me. That's why I have such big muscles and I just feel manly that way. But then I just do it all in service of a woman. It's like, yeah, I go to the gym because ultimately at the end of the day, I want to be the most attractive person that I want to be. Yes, of course, I do it for health. And at the beginning, like my initial gym journey, like I used to be 400 pounds. I've showed the pictures a bunch of different times. Okay, I've dropped well in excess, like it's been a hot second since I've hopped on a scale. So to give you an exact amount, it's over 200 pounds. That's how much weight I've personally lost myself and put on all the excess muscle on top of that. Okay, my initial goal was to just get the big lats, and I didn't even care if I needed to walk sideways through the door. And what was at the bottom of that? Getting bitches. But that's the aspirations of a 16-year-old at the time. Okay, so now it's health, because my family tree is just riddled with diabetes, cancer, heart disease. You name the disease, somebody in that family tree is drop dead because of it. So I'm just trying to keep living, okay? But at the same time, I know it's far more attractive to be 6.5 feet tall, in good shape, with single-digit body fat, as opposed to being 6.5 feet tall, 400 pounds with 50% body fat. Just saying.
I don't need somebody like Andrew Tate to be like, you're not a man unless you do this. I also don't need a woman to come up.
Again, this is somebody who just sees some clips and goes off of that. Oh, I need Andrew Tate. Shut up.
Like, you're not a real man if you don't do this. And it's the same with femininity. I'm not going to tell you how to be a woman. I don't think another woman should tell you how to be a woman either.
So what would you tell kids?
Yeah, like you have a daughter. Do
Yeah.
you really want to be guided by the ambiguous? Define yourself as however you want to define yourself. And for her mind to be molded.
Yo, he looks like great value Justin Trudeau. Does anybody else see
Guided
that?
by the ambiguous. Define yourself as however you want
Yes, you're right.
to define yourself. And for her mind to be molded and shaped by men who, no disrespect, women who turn themselves into men and then turn themselves back and say there's a lot of
Yo, she got
dissatisfaction,
no
when the
chill.
root of the
This is
problem wasn't
fantastic.
the gender, it was everything
There's
else.
actually
slow down,
very,
though.
very
I feel
low
like-
I looked
rates
at the
of
percentages.
detransitioning, but
I
that's
looked at
neither here nor
percentages.
there.
That's also a minority of the population.
Feels like you're bundling a lot of ideas, which makes it hard to respond. But
Well,
I
because there's so much data to support
can you
these.
repeat what's the main question?
Do you
want me
want
to
your
answer?
daughter's mind to be formed and shaped by a society that tells her it's okay to be masculine and to be a man, and that she doesn't need a man, and that it's better off for her to be alone and put her career first and not have children?
I think it's more.
Yeah, somebody needs to write the sequel to the author of Sex and the City, who said, I'm 60 years old and I'm miserable and I regret every feminist decision that I made in my life. Of course. Who's going to write the papers, Janelle?
More likely than not that she'll probably follow a more conventional path. If my daughter grows up and she wants to dress like a boy, like, great. If she, for whatever reason, is experiencing gender dysphoria, like, we would navigate that together. But that, to me, it doesn't scare me. And I would all the more want to live in a world that...
I feel like that's sad because
Why,
it's
though?
because my son, I encourage him. I say, you are to
She
be,
does have
and
a
I
son.
really don't care the backlash. You're supposed to be attracted to women. And
Isn't
I
that
tell
a lot
him,
of pressure?
and I ask him,
But what
who
if
are-
he's not?
Because life for transgender individuals, and my son's African American as well, is very freaking hard. I don't know if we can swear. I'm sorry.
You can.
It's very hard. Do you know this to be true?
Asking people or putting pressure on your son or putting
I
pressure
don't
on my daughter
pressure.
to not...
I just tell him.
Okay, but to not be their true self, if that's truly how they feel,
that's
it
not
feels
their
like
true
that
self.
would
No,
be...
it's
That's terrible advice, okay? You should be congruent with yourself, but just be your true self. People improve. Like, there's a multi-billion-dollar, multi-trillion-dollar industry about telling people to improve every single day. If you're just going to be yourself, okay, this species wouldn't continue to continue on into the future, okay? If you were just being your true, honest self, that would be just descending into sloth, gluttony, and vices, okay? I'm just my best self because I like whiskey. I'm just my best self because I like the taste of Cheetos, okay? Terrible advice. Terrible advice, but what do you expect from a fucking male feminist?
They're
That's
not their
not,
true
that's
self.
this like
Thank you.
that's this way
Thank you.
society has influenced everybody to
correct.
be
Yeah,
like,
so often.
you know,
What do
Yeah,
you
you say I
expect
can
in a
identify,
dollar
I can
store
be whatever I
Trudeau?
want. If I want to say, I'm Beyonce today, I can now just be Beyonce,
But do you
right?
actually believe that?
I do. I kind of feel like I don't think you
Can we
believe
talk
it.
about
You
the
genuinely
prompt-
believe
let's
it.
go back.
The prompt about men
Here's
falling
the
behind.
other thing. Men are falling behind. Is it because of feminism, or is there
Yes.
socioeconomic factors that we're not looking at?
Well, how do we
because
define
well, no.
falling behind?
Let's
Yeah,
look,
what do you see as falling
What's
behind?
falling behind? So people in America, not just men, everybody is getting poor. This has nothing to do with
Well, that's not
feminism.
true.
No,
That's a
this-
mental
yeah,
state.
No,
That's
it's not
a
true.
mentality.
This is economic data. We're
I'm not
falling
getting
behind.
that.
Well,
personally.
you can blame a president for that.
Okay,
And
back
the other
to the
thing,
The person who says, well, there's data, I've got stats to pull it up, is just arguing in bad faith. You're just trying to lend an air of credibility to your just an unverifiable statements that you're trying to make, okay? I know that kind of fell apart, but if you get what I'm saying. It's just trying to add a layer of credibility to back up. It's like, everybody's getting poorer. The studies show. I could just show you another study, okay? And that's the same type of person, okay? If you had a same claim, if you had the counterclaim on that one, and you could actually provide the stats, actually, you know what? Hey, see right here, it says, the opposite of what you're saying. It actually shows that more people are doing better now than they have in any point in human history. Well, I don't agree with that study. You can just make numbers say whatever you want them to. It's like, you're not engaging with somebody who's in good faith. Just saying.
What do you define as masculinity? It can be subjective.
Tell
from
us,
culture to culture.
what do you define
I
masculinity
think masculinity is whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be this objective
How-
thing where it's like, oh, you're masculine, you're
how
not.
is it
Like,
gonna-
so it could be different from our society to another society. And actually, in some countries, like men who don't provide for their families or are not the sole provider are not seen
But
as
are we
masculine.
talking about
I can't think of a country where that's not true. Okay, the head of the household, the man. Okay, if he bums out on his family, he's not looked at straight. Okay, like, I don't know what planet he's from. Probably Planet Fitness.
Other countries, or are we talking about the
But
U.S.?
even here, there are people who will say that's demasculating for a man to make less money than his wife.
I appreciate everything everyone's saying.
Yeah, it's just because, okay, and again, you can take a look at it. Whenever one of the biggest precursors, okay, to a divorce is when a woman starts to make more money than a man. And the number one cited reason for a divorce to be filed, 80% of the time by a woman, 70% of the time divorces end because of financiary reasons. Because guess what? Her money is her money. Your money is your money and her money. So you better be making that money. Okay, or you better be on the upward trajectory. Otherwise, that shot clock's running, and it's not a full 24. You got 8, and you better get to fucking work.
I do want to talk about the prompt. When I heard the prompt and I heard that, I thought about men falling behind, I thought more like mental health, like suicide is more common with men.
We're going to go here.
No, but it's true. Men commit suicide at higher rates.
It's not a cop-out. Like, I'm not saying mental health isn't an issue. That it is an issue, and obviously a lot of men are experiencing a lot of pressure.
Have you heard like the term death of despair?
Men are committing suicide more. Men are dying from alcohol-related illnesses more, and they're also dying from drug abuse and drug overdose more.
Correct.
And that's an increasing trend in society. And then you
That's
see
right.
educational gaps.
No, there's no denying that. Like, young men are abandoning colleges at a rapid
It's a
rate.
lot of pressure.
60% of enrollees and 70% of graduates are female. Yeah, of course. But what are they studying right now? Okay, and then you take a look at what the men are going to college to study, and it's your STEM fields. It's your science, technology, engineering, and math. Or they're going to trade school and actually making some money off rip instead of, taking on $200,000 to $300,000 in student debts to get their, masters in fine arts. Fan-fucking-tastic. But no, it's fair, and it's something that I talk about quite a bit. Mental health, especially recently with all of the school shootings and shit like that that's going on. There's a mental health crisis, but then there's also a mindset crisis. That's what I would consider it as, okay? A lack of responsibility and then outsourcing your problems, trying to mask them instead of addressing them. And I understand that there are legitimate mental health problems, 1000%. There are certain things that are just not curable by, tackling said problems. But you're still responsible to the way that you act on your different stimuli, okay? I'm not talking about the, the paranoid schizophrenics that just see Satan in the corner of every room that they're in. They're beyond, just conventional help. They require certain medications, but you can always make your situation just incrementally better by taking responsibility for what you can control or the reaction to things that are out of your control. That will immediately make your situation better. I can guarantee that.
To be a man.
They're also far lonelier than women are right now.
Women are the
Hold on. Can I finish my point? Sorry. I'm like, don't let me lose my train of thought. They're abandoning colleges. Women make up, they enroll in college at a 60% rate. Women are earning more than men nowadays, right? So,
that is true.
We can get to the wage gap.
it's about enrollment. So are they having other jobs? Yeah, probably. Sure. But I'm saying like men are not going to these institutions. Why?
When you're saying lack of enrollment, there's more entrepreneurials in the entrepreneurial space than ever before in history. Mm-hmm. So I believe a lot of people are opting out of college as we had to.
I wonder about those stats too. Okay. Would you include an entrepreneur as somebody who's on OnlyFans? Because, okay, if you want to start to run in those numbers, you want to do an apples to apples comparison, okay? For every female OnlyFans account, I want you to compare and contrast the numbers of your male creators that's out there. If I decide to start slinging dick on OnlyFans, am I going to be making the same amount as... I actually don't know who's the top because, what was it, Black China, but then she decided to turn her shit off. At her peak, would I make it the same as my peak? That is goddamn discrimination. Those fucking fuckers in the UK, they're cheating me out of my money that I so rightly deserve for being a strong, independent king. I go king. Yeah.
Pursue their venture, so that could be part of the reason why the enrollment has declined.
Can I just go back to a point that you said really quick, where you talked about like the mental health of men and how the stigmatization of men addressing their mental health. What system are we in that makes it so that men have this big stigma around our mental health where we can't talk about it and the suicide rate goes up?
Feminism, because, okay, this is something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and there was a video that I was going to cut today, but I pushed that off to tomorrow, but it really doesn't much matter. It's going to be in the back archives. Men and women process their emotions, get this one, differently, because men and women better together, of course, very complementary, but we are fundamentally different on so many different levels, and especially in the way that we process our emotions. Speaking as a guy, I know, right? Big shock on that one, okay? Whenever I feel a certain way, okay, I'm going to take a step back and process something. If I'm angry or if I'm pissed off about something, yeah, you might get a facial expression. It's like, this fucking shit ain't going right. Like if the stream goes down or something, it's be like, oh, for fuck's sake, stupid cucksucking YouTube. But then I'll fix it. But I won't, break down into tears. I don't need to go talk it out for 15, 20 minutes. Okay, not saying every woman's going to do that, but chances are whenever they feel a certain way, they bubble up and they boil up, and that they just need to vocalize their opinions. Vocalize their emotions, sorry. Hey man, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just men process their emotions differently than women, except for when you view the world through a blank slate ideology, like the person who was born a woman, transitioned to men, think that they have the perspective of both sides, but then also don't express the fact that they see the world as the simple blank slate that it absolutely isn't.
So
we are in a patriarchal system.
Hold on, let me tell you.
Those are the bounds we are within currently.
There's a
That's
lot
toxic
Yes, but
masculinity.
not in the way.
Complete his point. I'll encourage you to let the other person finish the point, and then, of course, you can take it forward. But
Here's my friend.
Real quick, the systemic structures we are in
Yes.
are patriarchy. That is what has caused men to have this massive stigma around mental health, where we don't feel empowered to reach out. Men tend to not go to therapy. That leads to suicide.
You know what actually made more men go to therapy? The Sopranos. Got my box set over there. That's why I point to that. So yeah, that was actually proven. There was a trend that went along at the same time. But you talk to your average therapist that's out there, and they are a left-wing nut job. So good stuff on that. For every Dr. Shannon Curry, the hot doctor during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, you get 15, 16, 17, 20 different Don Hughes, Amber Heard's psychologist. Sheesh.
That leads to all of these big things. That's not caused by feminism. That was happening well before the feminist movement came into these new waves.
There's a lot of psychiatrists, psychologists, and economists, professors, all these people coming out saying that the actual psychology department is feminized. I know.
I'm processing what you're saying.
The psychology
It's weird,
department?
but the way that it
Between 1995 and 2015, the number of women within the academic psychology workforce oh my God, it's stupid shit. There we go. I'm going to try to read this for a second. Okay. More than doubled, an increase of 126%, and their representation increased 37 to 53%. You can also track that with law as well. Law schools are taking over basically anything that doesn't have to do with science, technology, engineering, and math. Anything that has to do with, get this one, people is starting to be dominated by women. The studies that involve the understanding of things, dominated by men. Still, big shock on that one. Make sure to put back on the, oh my God, why is it over there? But what's the shortcut key for that? Oh, it's for C. Great, fantastic.
everything's processed is for women. So women and men process information differently. Men are like this in their brain. Women are, it's all over. And like, what the hell does that mean?
Well, it's
It
left brain,
means
right
that
brain.
when you
I wish it was
process
that
like
simple.
men need to solve the problem
Correct.
before they.
That's called the triune mind theory. I've broken it down in different videos, but just the 30,000 foot perspective before Tory butchers it, I would imagine, is men through the three different stimuli. There's three different ways that you can interpret a situation. Your instincts, of course, Rollo describes it as, throwing a ball and then you just immediately get out of the way, okay? And then after that, you can have emotions. It's like, where the fuck did that come from? Why did that happen? What did I do in order to cause that? And then there's a rationality. It's like, okay, where did that come from? How do I stop that from happening again? Who threw it? The way that women process stimuli such as that, everybody starts with, okay, men and women both start with a reaction, okay, their immediate instinct, and then women process through emotion and then rationality. Men, on the other hand, go through rationality and then emotion. Okay, so whatever's at the bottom, number 3 option, okay, if it's insufficiently addressed by their second, either emotional option for the women or for the rationality through men, then you can go to step 3. But for the most part, throughout your regular day, men, being the deductive problem solvers that they are, will just see a situation and just go through it. And some people who would internalize that, it's like, oh my God, wasn't that upsetting for you? Would you like to talk about it? Would you like to take a pill well in order to make that better. That's a way that they think you should be addressing it. Meanwhile, it's just like, oh, okay, no, I just do that, and that's totally fine. You work so much. Yeah, I work because that's my job as a man. Like, come on, that's the way shit goes. Ooh, that's something that reminds me. Okay, I know I'm stopping a lot, but I don't know if this is copyright claim or anything like that. So just, I'm gonna chill out for a second. I don't even know if there's anybody talking that shit in the chat, and nor do I really care, because it's my show after all. But I'm happy that everybody shows up. Legitimately, it's just a little jab. But when you guys were growing up, I seem to remember it was probably 3rd grade. Why the fuck do I remember specifically when that is? But there are different types. There are different ways that people learn. Like, they would even break this down back in the day. Okay, through learning, through through learning, obviously. No, but through seeing something, from hearing something, and then from doing something. And I can't remember, like I said, this was grade 3. I remember the classroom. That's why I remember specifically where it was. Okay. But yes, all of the boys would end up, learning best by either doing something, or it was, most of them were through doing something. Okay. And then there was kind of a split when it came to hearing something, and then seeing something. Was it seeing something that girls, or was it hearing? No, it was hearing from women. And then there was a kind of a decent mix when it came to seeing something being done. And then men, just overwhelmingly, they would retain something like a drawing cursive. Okay. I remember drawing cursive in that class at the same time. The guys would retain how to do like a capital S if they were up there, or capital G. You learn how to do it if you were up on the chalkboard. I'm old. Okay. You had actual chalkboards back in the cut. As opposed to the girls, who they could see it up on the chalkboard. It's like, oh, okay, I understand. That didn't used to be a contentious issue, but now, well, no, everybody has to learn. Everybody has to learn through the feminine lens, which, of course, another, I don't know if Torsha is going to bring it up, but I might as well right here. Boys are raised as defective women, and women, this is talking about public school. The female way is the correct way. Men are raised as defective girls. No. Structure, yeah. Yeah, and then that general hierarchy just tends to play out in a whole bunch of species, a bunch of different species around the world. Shout out to Jordan Peterson. All the lobsters form their own hierarchy. When they fight under the sea, the loser lobster slinks back and he gets more serotonin and it rebuilds his brain. It's like, this shit happens. It's natural in the environment. This isn't a machination. This isn't a social construct by people. It's just these evil bastard men just trying to hold the women down and beat them into submission. Okay, if she doesn't have dinner on the table when you get home, all you need to do is chain her to the oven and feed her uppercuts. It's like, shit doesn't work like that, bro. It's like, you've been watching, I don't know, way too much Tumblr. Is that still around? Yeah, I don't trust that guy. He's just been redefining his shit the entire time, so fuck him. Or her. It's because they're bitches and they're not assertive. Sucks to suck. Merch. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, man. Like I said, okay. How far back? Shit. Ed, if you're still in the chat, just tell me how far back. Okay. I don't want to miss anything here, for fuck's sakes. Okay. Mention it. You muted the sound for us live stream chat. Yo, for Pete's sake. Yeah, how long ago was that? Okay. Shit, because I'll fix that here. For fuck's sakes. Like I was just gonna say, I'm trying to engage. Okay, trying to engage with the video, and then at the same time hop into the chat. How far back do I need to go for that one? Okay. I did. Hey, at least I had the subtitles on. Fuck's sakes. But anyways, because I can go back if you guys want. Sorry about that. I'm real fucking stupid, man. Anyways, yeah, muted sound. Okay. Doesn't look. Oh shit. Okay, yeah. So Peterson, 6%. 6% graduation rate. Check Asian men's stats. Okay. I don't think it was that long, but if you guys want me to run it back, no problem on that, for fuck's sakes. About 3 to 4 minutes. Okay. Let's just check here. Was it about? Did you guys hear anything when it came to military? I guess military mental health shit that he was talking about there. 1 minute in video. Oh, thanks, Wes. Appreciate that. Okay. So yeah, yeah, maybe we could just run back. If that's good there, where he was talking about being in the army and describing the patriarchy. If that's good there, we can go from there. Fuck's sakes. I don't know why. I think I saw... Back when I used to just, not stream or anything like that, I had a quick key on the side for, I think it was on the number pad or some shit like that, to just mute. No, but that was for the mic. Shit makes no fucking sense. Okay, so muted sound, so... I don't want to fuck around with any about that. Let's see what we got. Should be good. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck it, we'll just go from there. I think we should be good, though. Okay. Do apologize for that.
Even though there is therapy services, they're actually actively discouraged. And it's because of this masculine energy in the military, because it is still, even to this day, a very ultra-masculine institution. And there's these negative energies saying, like, hey, no, you shouldn't, like, talk. That's what these fucking do.
But that's toxic masculinity.
Yes.
Well,
but
that's not patriarchy.
It comes from a place
There's a difference.
no, it comes from a place where it's like, oh, that's not what men do. Just suck it up and push on. And that's why a lot of these guys end up killing themselves.
But what branch are you in? Can I ask?
She does have gray boobs, though, right, Meme?
So you're an athlete, correct? And in the military, what is in the military that makes everything work within the military? It's a structure, right?
Yes, it's a structure.
It's a system.
Guns and
Who runs
Humvees
the military?
that now
Who's at the very top of the
Al-Qaeda
command?
has.
The commander-in-chief, the
Correct.
president of the United States.
But I'm making a point here. So there's one person at the very top. Even if you take the commander-in-chief away, there's your general, right? Then there's lieutenant general, there's corporal, and I forget the, don't hate me, there's all those privates, etc. There's a system. One person is at the top of that system, and he has supporting members underneath him, all the way down to private. And that's what patriarchy was, quote, patriarchy was designed. It's a system of one person taking a leadership position, and they make decisions for the greater good, utilitarianism of all, meaning the family unit.
That's not really what patriarchy
and actually,
means.
that's
It is. I looked up the
that's
definition, actually.
That's actually a very
I literally
ideal
looked it up yesterday.
I feel,
No, you're
I
good.
feel
I
like
got
I really
lost.
need the male feminists also to respond, because I feel like
Oh,
they've
yes.
spoken 20%. Once they're done with their thought, feel free to interrupt, but let them finish a sentence.
Okay, I want to talk. I'm going to talk. I mean, I do
Okay,
think men are
fantastic.
falling behind. I feel like the world is just changing in a way where men don't have like a natural place to fit in, or it's not as intuitive as it used to be. And I think men are alone. I heard you throw out the word loneliness, and that does feel true. I just don't think that feminism did that. I just think like the world is changing.
What you said really resonated with me when we define falling behind. What I think about with men is that high suicide rate, that likeliness and proclivity towards violence and aggression. I think about loneliness and not being in relationships with which young men are struggling with a lot right now. And where I feel...
Yeah, so how is that not directly... How can you not chalk that up directly to feminism, okay? It doesn't make any sense. Because the hatred really, it all just gestated right there with that one singular movement. Everybody was fine. Yeah, but maybe we're just coming to the conclusion that men are just not that desirable on a balance of probabilities. In general, most men just aren't attractive candidates, and they're just all starting to learn that. So there's only one conclusion that you can draw from that. better fucking self-improve. Otherwise, it's going to be a lonely track forward. And throughout history, right, 40% of men have actually successfully procreated. 95 or 99% of women, if we got any fact checkers in there. But yeah, no, it's that's what it is, man.
Finding common ground, and feminism does get right in a sense, is that we should expand our horizons as far as how we view masculinity. Men should be able to cry, they should be able to be vulnerable, and that's something that we need to access. But also, these men...
Yeah, but men don't want to do that, again, in general. And if you're going to crying in front of your lady, it's not a smart proposition. Of course, you can always cherry pick the certain examples that are out there, but if you're upset that, you know, things aren't going right at work, okay, you're really struggling in case, you know, you don't know if you can quite meet the mortgage payment at the end of the month, that shows that there's a chink in the armor when it comes to the ability for you to provide. So while that might not ultimately come to fruition, okay, you're putting that doubt into her mind, and that's not something that you need to be doing willingly, okay? If you're going through a problem, that's why you absolutely need to have a good quality support system of guys who know what it's like to be on that same grind.
Who are feeling disillusioned with the world right now. They are seeking out male figures. We've seen, you know, the rise of the Jordan Petersons or some of the personalities at the Daily Wire or the Andrew Tates. They are seeking out somebody who's telling them, I want you to access those masculine traits and harness them in a way. I would say Jordan Peterson's probably a more healthy role model for men than, say, an Andrew Tate.
Why would you say that? Because Jordan Peterson begged the only girl that ever touched his wiener for marriage? I like Jordan Peterson, by the way. Okay, I've got both of his books. I've listened to thousands of hours of his content. I just also know on societal issues, it's just like Ron DeSantis. Like Ron DeSantis, he crushes easy cans. But when it comes to the relationship side of the equation, Peterson's not a role model at all whatsoever. If you want to see how well he trains the next generation, take a look at his daughter.
But men are going towards these more aggressive, masculinized traits and seeking out men that are trying to harness that for them.
Yeah. I thought you made a really great point that I totally agree with, where men are looking for these role models of how to embody masculinity because we are falling behind and a lot of people don't know how to act. What's really important, and what I've seen, at least in my experience, like feminism bring up, is the idea of like Justin Baldoni doing his talk about being man enough for your woman, being man enough to be emotional, being man enough to support children. That's the type of manliness and masculinity I think needs to be embodied so that men can catch up and feel like there's a place for them. That's
Why would I listen to a woman about masculinity?
something that we need to focus on, is making sure that people know how to embody masculinity in a way that's going to be beneficial for everyone.
Women should also be drafted into the military.
No, of course not. But Pacer, I'm just going to respond to this, okay, without having to text, because it's really tough trying to respond to videos at the same time as, texting it in the chat. But I didn't want to have to say it. I'm glad you did.
Let's do it.
If you're going to vote, you might as well be drafted, baby. That's it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I believe rights come with responsibilities, and we are all responsible individuals. Granted, I'm glad we live in a society where we haven't had the draft since, I think, Vietnam.
Vietnam,
I think Vietnam.
Still on the books, though, so come on now.
Years ago.
I do think that maybe we should relook at the draft and as other options, not just military service. So I was in active duty military, and I was also in the National Guard, and I've fought wildfires, and I've done crowd control. I've done a lot of other things.
How the fuck did you come to feminist values? I'm just thinking that this guy's just really bad with women and thinks that he can backdoor his way into some cooch.
If you want the same rights, you have to have the same responsibilities, and I think that's just universal based on what you can do and your abilities.
This was a very difficult one for me to parse through, because I remember when I was getting my birth certificate changed, and it was like, all right, time to register for selective service, and I was like, oh God, I have to make this decision now to register.
You don't have a choice.
I know, I don't. So I was like, all right, cool. I will go through with finishing.
Other than Doggy, what position could this guy actually fill in the military? Does somebody need a paperweight on their desk? I don't know.
All this legal stuff up and register. And I think, like you said, there's lots of other responsibilities that men and women of different abilities and different strengths
Cook. There we go.
Could fulfill within selective service if we needed it.
Drafted, correct me if I'm wrong, would be going into war, would be physically going and doing the actual
support
role.
role.
The draftees in Vietnam didn't go see combat; they did supportive roles.
Yeah, it's selective service, so you register to be potentially needed to call for multiple different responses.
But some of them are going.
Right.
Some of them, there was some bad cases.
The part
actually.
that I would disagree with would be putting women on the front lines. We are physically capable to do a lot. You know, there's different boundaries for women who
Just
go
not
into the military,
combat.
who have to do boot camp, than there are for men. We can work women as hard as they can, but they're not going to work as hard as men are.
I actually got accepted into the Air Force, which would have been like very nice because
Balloon division.
I would have had a little desk job. But unfortunately, I was waiting for a job, so I went to Army. So I went through boot camp, and it was hell, and it really messed my back up even more than it already was. Our
You're saying, Janelle, you're saying you got your back blown out?
rationale skill.
Sorry, there would be commentary over top of this, but I think I've laid out my position when it comes to this. Oh, fuck, what was that? The ballerina video that I did earlier today, just saying about lower standards. It's like, this is the absolute test case when it comes to this, okay? You don't want lower standards for the people that are supposed to be defending your country. It's not, you don't want that. I don't want that for police officers. I want police officers that are my size and bigger. I want people that can arrest me if anything happens that I end up on PCP and I start wrecking the place up. I want people that are in and out of uniform that can arrest anybody that's out there, okay? A polite society is a good society. That's what I would want instead of just these, wannabe... I was going to say something terrible about female cops, but I'll just say female cops for the time being. I've met some, they're wonderful-ish, whatever. Okay, but their immediate response, okay, you get a guy, okay, you get a big bro over there, the army dude that's over there that's kind of shaped like a question mark, or at least a parentheses at this point. But no, what the fuck was I going to say? Okay, no, he goes out. Oh, right, yeah, if he wanted to start to cause a ruckus on the panel right there, okay, and one of those girls was a police officer, how would they restrain him? What would be the first thing that they would do? Take a look. What did Kim Potter do? You remember the police officer. The taser, taser, taser. Pow, pow, pow. Oh, fuck, I shot him. That's the first thing that they do. Whenever there's an officer involved shooting and a female involved in any of the troop that's there, guess what they're doing? They're either protecting the woman or she's the one who's pulling the strap. Okay, it's also because police officers are just woefully undertrained, but another topic, another time.
Skills and our logical thinking is not conducive to be able to be on the front grounds, to be able to make, oh my gosh, if I step here, this is going to blow up. Can I, we just think too emotionally. And that's why when we talk about leadership, it's the same thing. Being in those positions where split-second decision could make or break, I don't think women have it in them to do that. And I don't think it's fair to men. If I was a man, I wouldn't want to be next to a woman and want to be carried out if my life was depending on it.
I think it seems like a lot of the same discussions keep happening with these prompts, which is back and forth of how much is it nature, how much is it nurture.
They were talking about physicality between men and women. Women are slighter, okay? Like, you're a small dude, but we're talking about peak physical combatants out on the warfield. There's a big difference. You want your physically superior people out there. You don't want equity on the battlefield. You know what that ends up looking like? A lot of new mulch in the ground.
How much are there intrinsic biological differences between men and women, and how much does that dictate
a lot
our behavior and our physiology, our biology, versus how much of that is through social learning? So how much it's our culture in terms of,
societal
let's say,
programming
on a scale of 1 to 10, how high is your sex drive?
Very high. I'm a sex
I'm not asking you
I thought
personally.
you were. I like it.
So I wasn't asking you.
Sorry.
If you ask everyone that,
yeah.
You'll see on average differences between.
In 2023, is the gay ear the left ear, or did it flip back to the right ear? I can't remember.
In men and women. And because of that, I don't think we should dictate whether or not someone is drafted into the military, because ultimately I think individuals should have the freedom to make certain choices.
It's a draft, though.
Yes, and you can go if they want. It's a draft, and what
the fuck?
you're saying
That was so
is you don't think people
stupid.
should be treated differently because there can
Exactly.
be metrics
It's
that fall outside
differential
of the data.
treatment. That's what.
Yo, this guy thinks a draft is the first write-up of a book. What a fucking moron.
Of course, yeah, so there is differential treatment, but I would say that it's completely reasonable to do that because not only are we focusing on the differential treatment, but we're focusing on outcome. So if I'm expecting somebody to go into combat, which is the reason I didn't walk forward, you should also expect that person on an individual basis to be able to meet the exact same standard as every other man that they are going to be fighting with.
So the military has made a change on that, by the way.
Yes,
they
they
have a
have.
new individual test that's based on what jobs you're going to do. If you're doing more combat roles, yes, you have to be stronger and tougher, and there are women meeting those standards. That's why things are changing.
Ooh, what's the coffee fetching test?
And like I said, I'm not for the draft at all, really. I think it's a really bad thing. But if it was to happen, it should be across all boards. Everybody gets treated equal.
Yeah.
If I could choose the possibility of women being drafted or not, I would choose that they're not. Well, I don't want my daughter to be drafted.
I think if you draft, at least account for the
Well,
differences.
she's tiny. She wouldn't be able to fight.
Female sex workers should be more respected.
Nope. Of course.
I don't know a ton
my
about
gosh,
this topic,
is Tori
but
about to drop
I do
her
think
OnlyFans?
I subscribe to the idea that legitimizing sex work reduces the safety risks associated with that profession.
Yeah, same thing about legalized weed. I know this is going to get spicy and somebody's not going to like it in the chat, but it has definitely led to a degradation in society. I can tell you on a consistent basis, I cannot go for a run in the morning without smelling on 4 different occasions, blocks apart from one another, just the pot stench that is just bellowing out of every fucking neighborhood. And it also coincides with the rise in homelessness that's around here. Hey, man, but then if you just decriminalize it and you just set up your dispensaries everywhere, oh, you can end up like California where the government has to further subsidize them because guess what? You still end up getting your bud from your fucking dealer that you always have because they can always be lower in cost than whatever the government sets the price at. So guess what? You just end up paying for somebody else's addiction and then some expired weed that nobody's fucking buying. So guess what would end up happening? Oh, we just need to get rid of the stigma of sex work. The OnlyFans is out there, okay? You see what has happened to the dating market because of that influx. Okay, all of those Instagram models that are out there, okay, that is some form. We could have a conversation on that, but that's a very soft form of sex work. And how's that working out for society? You think that's doing good, but we need to lower the stigma. What's the fucking stigma that's left, okay? I'm not wifing up some fucking 304 that's out there, okay? If you want to go ahead and you want to be Captain Save-A-Ho, do you, pal. But that you can remove the stigma if you want. They have been there for generations, and society, prior to this round, worked out pretty good when those stigmas were there. But you do you. Just raise a strong, empowered woman.
It's a very old profession. It's been around for a while.
It's going to continue to be around.
I don't, I think it's also, there's tools out there like OnlyFans that I think has put a lot of the power in the hands of the creators.
A lot of people don't realize, like, nobody, like, actively chooses to be in sex work. You're usually going to sex work because of social situations, and if it's a black market, most people ask why I joined the military. It's like, because I was poor. Like, there was no other fucking reason. And I'm not saying it would get rid of exploitation, but if women have legal protections, like if I was a prostitute and I could go up to a cop and say, hey, I got beat up and my money's stolen, not being worried about being arrested, like, I would be more likely to report crimes and get the people who are causing problems.
Yeah, and then for the people who just want to do it and want to just like own their sexuality, own their body, and use it as a commodity, a way to make money, they should be able to do that in a way that is safe, in a way that they own all of the videos, all of the content that they make, and in a way that is equitable for them.
When it comes to respect, there's 2 definitions. Respect either can mean
that
like
was all
politeness,
babble.
like
I
you
didn't
wouldn't
really
shut
care.
the door on
Okay.
somebody that's like walking behind you, like be respectful.
Yeah.
The other respect is usually if you do something that in the workplace that garners approval, you've completed a goal. So when we talk about respect when it comes to sex workers, should we be polite to them? Probably. That would be a human thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't have to, but yeah. I prefer OnlyFans over the traditional porn industry.
Yeah, because you own it, and then it's
women
a lot
got
more
sex trafficked.
But that agency is important to
I
know
think
that it's
so,
what
yeah.
you own, and to
What does this have to do with, chicks that just show their cooter for money should get more respect? Kind of missing on the point here, because this just all sounds like we support our strong, independent queens. Okay.
have that respect put onto you that like this is your content you're putting out into the world.
Yeah, now it's their copyrighted material. Before, when it was the old porn industry, they didn't have rights to those videos, and that's a huge thing. Like if I want to take my
Okay. Oh no, right? Because she said on multiple different occasions that she has an Instagram. Tori's got a sex tape out there. I'm just saying.
my stuff down, you have to go to a court with a copyright case, and it just
That's what happened with Mia Khalifa. That was her whole thing, and
Yeah, and she's so traumatized by the entire situation, she continues to use her porn name.
luckily now she has a very successful career doing like sports commentating and stuff. But
Actually, she doesn't. She has a 6-digit-a-month OnlyFans account. Wow, yeah, really traumatized by the industry. I only made $5,000 throughout all the shoots that I was making until Bang Bros turned up. Is like, actually, this is how much you were making, you lying whore.
unfortunately that's not the rule. That's the exception. Where
Right,
she's been able
but
to be
it's a
successful.
role model.
Right off the bat, you said Mia Khalifa went from being a porn star
is she
to
gonna do it?
being a sports commentator.
And she sucked
That
at
is
it.
something that
Well,
we should be
sucked off
directing
at
women
it.
towards. It shouldn't be, okay, well, she's going to go do an OnlyFans or she's going to be in 50 porn videos to get paid. When we're encouraging women to go out of their way to sell their bodies on the internet because that's a means to an end, we're not doing that the right way, and I don't think the feminist movement should be moving in the direction of normalizing sex work when we should be encouraging women to value themselves, value their body, value their talent, and take that elsewhere.
There's a lot.
That sounds a lot like you should just stay in the kitchen. That's very misogynistic. But also, I forget where I heard this specifically, but two groups of students from across the world, okay? So Chinese high school students, I think it was Chinese. It was at least some Eastern country, okay? They were asked what did they want to... I'm pretty sure it was... I'm pretty sure it was China. Anyways, it really doesn't much matter. What they wanted to do once they graduated. The vast majority of them wanted to be astronauts, okay? Something that has prestige. And I think if you've heard this, you also know where I'm going with this. American high school students, what did they want to do when they graduated? They wanted to be content creators. I.e., they seen the success, the first day success of Bad Baby, okay, when she turned 18 years old and made $1 million in like 6 to 12 hours. They see the easiest path that's out there, okay? And why would China or an Eastern country decide to go with the more laborious path? Why would they try to dig it out the mud? It's because that's the way that their parents had to do it, and that's the way that society shows them the way, as opposed to the United States, Western society at large. What do they just show? You're beautiful at any size. It's just path of least resistance. So when you're faced with that opportunity, you're faced with those choices, you see somebody just sitting in front of their computer, just playing a video game all the time. Oh, good. I'm going to be a content creator on YouTube. Fantastic. Yeah, just look at all those Minecraft influencers and all of their the fleet of panel vans that they drive to their conventions. And then for the women, well, I've already talked about OnlyFans enough. Like it just shows you that there is no stigma that's left. There really isn't. And should they be more respected? They should be equally respected to the level of respect and respectability they provide in the world.
A lot of things in place, though, for women. Like, yeah, there's obviously a need if they're in maybe a lower economic class or something, but at the end of the day, that's more of like a morality topic, you know? And so you can't really force that on everybody. I agree with you.
Right. The other thing would be is that women are not
shout out
happy when
Eliza.
they're doing this. It's not empowering as a woman. You can go on Twitter and see these women who are in their 30s with an OnlyFans link in their bio, but with no kids, no husband, no specific thing to actually care about. It's all about materialistic things. These are the same women that you're seeing tweeting about how sad they are. They're tweeting about how it's not generalized. It's the majority of those women. They are on antidepressants.
I'd like to speak because I've actually been in the industry.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Before she gets to there, there's an entire category of crying TikToks of women regretting their decisions. I just seen a screenshot of one earlier today on Twitter, where it was she's 42 years old. She's tired of going on Tinder dates, and she just wants to give up on dating in general. Well, those seeds were planted years and years ago, decades and decades ago, back when she had suitors in her DMs, okay? Guys that were in her phone book that she wouldn't take seriously. Might have been the best mate for her, but she always had that hypergamous itch in the back of her mind where I could do better. Oh, now that we got Instagram, I got flued out by an actor, a rapper, an athlete, or something like that. Yeah, thinking that you can attract that level of man for a relationship, but then not realizing that you're just simply attracting them for fucks only. It just shit like that. You're gonna start to see there's gonna be a whole host of these broads going into the future, and it's gonna be a booming business. Okay, if you're looking for an easy idea, and I've seen these profiles pop up on different social media accounts as well, just reacting to not just the posts themselves, but just the dating profiles that are out there. Yeah, that's going to be a booming industry, and it's sad, but choices have consequences. You could have settled a long time ago. It's like this chick in the screenshot, she's 42, but she wasn't out of shape or anything like that. Chances are, yet she was just playing the field for too long. She was in that metaphorical casino, okay? She had all of the chips when she was just first coming in, and developed a gambling habit. Okay, you get $100, you get $50, you get $150, okay? And just continuing to try to get the best suitor possible, but then you started to realize that, it's 12 o'clock. Okay, and now it's 2 o'clock once you hit 30. And then it's the 4 o'clock in the morning, and your pile of chips is starting to go down. But then all of a sudden you realize that the lights are coming on and that the sun's coming out outside, and you're fucking bankrupt. hey man, it sucks. If you had a supportive family structure, maybe they would have curtailed you a little bit, but that's gonna be a majority of women out there. But of course, you got the trans guy that's on the panel. It's like, that's a generalization. Yes, that's the way that you have to operate in this world, through generalities.
So I was trafficked for a decade. You hit the nail. That's okay. You hit the nail on the head. I came from a very poor socioeconomic background. I was a product of the state, and so I speak from experience when I say it's not empowering, it's not glorifying, it's not owning your body. None of that stuff is true. No little girl when they're 4 or 5 says, I want to grow up and be a hooker. OnlyFans is the biggest pimp of them all. They're still taking 20%, and your content still gets leaked a lot.
Oh,
I agree. I'm not in favor of any kind of exploitation.
Oh, but you're gonna simp for OnlyFans? Yeah, you just laid everything out right there. It's like, yeah, they get 20% for hosting the servers, and just watching you, put your brown starfish out there for the world to see. And it's like, wow, that's what goes for $5 now. Used to go farther back in my day.
I also am uncomfortable by the idea of, like, women I know, if they were in that industry, like, I admit, like, it makes me feel uncomfortable. My gut is
so you have a daughter. I'm going to be having a daughter in 4 months.
Let's just go back to the daughter.
So, well, I mean, it's a good question, because you're raising a human being for the future of society that we're going to all shape. How does it make you feel to raise a daughter in a world where you can either preserve, you can either preserve her innocence, or you can step away and let her do the OnlyFans thing?
How about respect femininity?
It's a great question, and there's two truths. There's two truths that I feel like I can hold at the same time. One is, I would be very uncomfortable if any female relative or person that I loved was exploring that profession.
But he also wouldn't tell them to stop because he has no fucking backbone, coward.
Like, I would have.
You can't even say it.
I'm trying to be as like professional as I can.
Yeah, as a father specifically.
No. I don't think that I'd fail. I would have complex feelings to navigate. Yeah. On a higher level, I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with that profession, and I respect people who do it in a way that's fulfilling to them. And
that's the same thing back during the election cycle in 2016. That's when I really lost any shred of respectability I had for Ben Shapiro. But no, he was talking about having a public-facing set of opinions, but then at home he has a private set of opinions. Hillary Clinton famously also said the exact same stuff. That's when I knew the guy was sus off rip. But if you aren't congruent, you're going to show the holes in your character, and that's eventually going to get put on blast and put you in some compromising situations. So that's why what you guys see right now is exactly what you get. And I also just wanted to shout out, that's like, we got record turnout for this across both platforms, between YouTube and Rumble, which Rumble is tripled the turnout on YouTube. That's fucking great. Shout out to you guys for a Tuesday evening impromptu stream. I love it. Thank you very, very much.
Brings them happiness. If someo's doing that job and it doesn't bring them joy, obviously I would not.
But most of the
them.
women
But you have to
are doing
understand
it
it's not bringing value or happiness to women.
I'm just trying not to wrap it all into one bundle, because there's going to be exceptions. I think you just want to be careful of, like, putting a negative label over, like, so many people's lives.
I think it should be negative, though, so that young daughters don't run to her. And why don't we have more respect
them
for
enough
femininity
to love them,
versus
to
respect for sex work?
Yeah.
Men should take birth control.
Condoms are out there. Men should take birth control. Yo, bitches, you don't want that, okay? Because guess what? You control the access to sex. Men control the access to relationships. And if you want to hand over the responsibility of, creating a child, you're going to have to jump through hoops. Sure, there's going to be some simps, but there's always going to be simps. See me as opposed to great value Trudeau over there. I don't need to point to the exceptions in order to prove the rule, okay? All you need to do is just take an assessment of the landscape and realize that there's high-quality men, and that's the ones that the women actually aspire towards, and that at the end of the day, they'll end up settling for the simps. The guys that are still in the DMs of all of those crying and sad posts that are out there, those are those low-value guys that the women never wanted to take seriously. Those will just be, oh fuck, I'm lonely, and I guess that's better than another dog, and yeah, he makes the reasonable amount of money, and I won't be too terribly embarrassed next to him. You don't want to be that guy. That's why self-improvement, being on your own personal journey, finding your own purpose, I know that sounds ethereal and ephemeral and slightly feminine, but at the same time, it's 1,000% true. It also harkens back to the fact that you take a look at the average guy that's around, that's your competition. If you are just not fat, if you take a decent care of yourself, if you can string together more than 2 sentences without saying fuck every other word, you're going to be ahead of the pack. You're going to be better than average, and that places you well, given the fact that, 70% of men, 70% of people in the United States are overweight, if you are just simply not overweight, and that you are smart enough to carry a conversation, if you have a couple of good lines, you are far and away ahead of the competition, and it has never been easier. So that's why I never advocate for settling for less. This is supposed to be about birth control. This will be, looking at the segment, it doesn't look quick, but I thought it should be.
That's like interesting.
Choice.
No,
Well, male birth control does exist. The problem is there hasn't been a lot of funding into making it commercially available.
Why do you think that is? Putting that very consequential choice in the hands of women, so that you can continue to market to them, so you can give them that power as well. Oh, interesting, so that you can wield it against them, and then you take a look at the legal structure on the back of it. Makes a lot of sense right there. But yeah, male birth control, there's no reason, okay? You put a rocket on the moon, Elon Musk is going to Mars, but there's no pill or, well, I guess there's some kind of goofy-ass cream, but the side effects are atrocious, and it's like, why is that the case? I don't know, just wrap it up. Take your pervert pass if you're going to go do some fuck shit on the weekend, okay? Otherwise, there's the vasectomy, but that's only reversible. Some assholes say that it's reversible. It's not as bad as freezing eggs, but I think it's about a coin flip for it actually to be reversible. So, and again, the guys, after all the abortion stuff started to really kick off, it's like, we're going to get vasectomies because we don't want to impregnate anybody. Well, spoilers, you weren't fucking to begin with. But then, again, that's your competition. That's what the average man is out there programmed to think. Do you want to be in their ranks? Yeah, I didn't think so.
It's about making it an equal responsibility all around, especially if there's a more effective way, like a pill. They can't just whine about the side effects when they know that it can significantly decrease a woman's quality of life when she's dealing with all this.
Her chance of fertility, her chances of, I've never been on birth control, and I don't believe in taking it. I don't believe in putting anything that alters my body. I'm not saying either party should have it, because personally, I don't think
I did
that anyone should put that stuff in their body.
I'm pretty sure it's released.
But if one's going to do
that video.
and then the other one should have the option of doing it.
Yeah, if we're in a world where women have the access to it and men have the access to it, should is just such a strong word.
So
Make the choice for your own body. That's why I didn't walk forward. But yeah, if you both have the option.
If men had the right to birth control, then they would ultimately be coinciding and deciding if a child should come to life. Right now, women ultimately have that decision. No matter what you say, she gets to decide if she goes through with it or not. And
yeah, if she wants to have an abortion, she's going to have the abortion. Even if the guy wants to have the kid, that's totally her decision. A guy, on the other hand, if he doesn't want to have that kid, well, and she wants to, go through and have it, and guess what? She gets 18 years of all the cash and prizes that she wants, and that is enforceable by the law. It's unilateral. There are no takebacks. There is no compromise when it comes to that. So, yeah, should, exactly, like they're kind of pointing out, and don't crucify me too much. I'm actually, on the side of, well, it's because everybody's on the side of this one, okay? Should men take birth control? Nobody should do anything. Is there the option for it? Well, yeah, do what you want to do. But again, condoms. Condoms are birth control. How are we not overgoing this?
I think that's kind of problematic for many reasons, but yeah.
It goes back to why I stepped forward with the military draft. Everyone needs to take responsibility for people's sexual and reproductive health.
But are you saying that because you know that women would want a guy to take birth control? That's more of like you want to please the feminists?
Please myself, because I'm a feminist.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying male feminists have a tendency to have the talking points, and they're like, women want us to take the birth control.
Says the Rolo parrot.
Well, so I guess we will, but do you actually think that you would?
Why wouldn't I?
Why don't you get a vasectomy?
I did.
Did you?
I have a vasectomy.
So there you did it. All right.
I swear to God, I did not screen this beforehand, but it all fucking makes sense, doesn't it?
Okay, yes.
I decided to get a vasectomy because I wanted to play a small, very small part in having men take more responsibility for their sexual and reproductive health. And once I learned more about vasectomies and the procedure, it seemed like a no-brainer for me to get it. I've known for a few years that I don't.
Yeah, well, like I said before, 40% of men throughout all of history never reproduced.
I want children, and so I'd been thinking about getting a vasectomy. And then Roe v. Wade got overruled, and I just looked into it, and I started doing more research on it, and free of insurance.
Yeah, I was going to say insurance.
No side effects. It's an outpatient procedure, so you go in 20 minutes, you're out. I went to work the next day. You should not take it if you have any inkling of a doubt about not wanting biological children because it's not 100% reversible.
But in
That's
some
good to
cases
know,
they
though.
do it, yeah.
Right. It's preposterous to me that it's only about 5 to 6% of men in the U.S. have a vasectomy, because definitely more than 5 to 6% of men in the U.S. don't want to have children.
That's true.
Yeah,
Because
it's
it's like
complicated
condom,
with hormones. I know why.
vasectomy.
Yeah.
There is no
There's
there's no
nothing in
middle
between,
ground
yeah.
between the two.
But-
And I
Put it in her eye.
think it's because of patriarchy. I know you hate me using that word, but like I think it's
No,
because
it's
Patriarchy created the birth control pill. It was all, like, I know some people want to strap on the tinfoil hat. Oh, it was just used to subjugate women, and oh yeah, it was just get us eventually to this point where we're at in 2023. But no, it was like there was a problem that was there. Okay, women were out there, fucksing around, and that cup might be uncomfortable for some folks, but you know what? Hey, if you just had a chemical pill that you take once or whatever the fuck it is, every day and then you got the little placebo pills for 1 week out of the month, and everything's all good and wonderful and fantastic, right? Yeah, but they also didn't see the long-term consequences of what would happen if you started to put high-powered hormones into your body on a consistent basis, your thought process, and everything was going to change on top of that. Just ask Mason on the panel.
Because of gynocentrism, that's why. Listen, we have advanced so much. You don't think they could come up with a pill at this point? Think about it.
They've come up with one. It's
just
not
that
commercial.
there's not a market for it.
There would be a market for it.
Gynocentrism is like a...
Okay, so I want to hear from the disagreeers.
One thing that I do agree with is the fact that birth control has a lot of side effects. And if I'm not going to take that, and a lot of people aren't going to take that and have the side effects, then I don't think men should have to either. I think we live in an over-sexualized society where we're trying to, yes, find ways to solve this issue because you cannot stop everybody from doing it. Why not preserve and protect yourself and not go around and sleep with everybody?
But that is
There's a
message
very
is very, very
small
small group of
Right.
people that believe that, mostly in the faith-based
Right.
communities. But as far
that's
as
your right to be able to do that and make that decision. And
Right.
How many guys are actually out there fucking like that? It's a small percentage of guys that are out there sleeping around with everybody. We're talking specifically about the women. Hence why birth control for women is because, well, hey man, if they want to go have sex, they can go have sex outside of just your extreme examples of like your 600-pound pigs that got to pack it in at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like, it's not going to be happening for you, Bessie. And outsource somebody, flew in somebody that needs a green card. But for guys, it's the old, well, I guess it would be not an analogy, the example of a woman, any one of those women on the panel could absolutely get it, except for preggers over there. I don't, fuck around with that shit. That's weird. But they could walk into the nightclub, just strip down and just go legs akimbo. They would have a dick in there in a moment's notice. If any of those guys walk into the club, 3 of those guys walk into the club, they go in there and they try to do the exact same thing. They're all getting snatched up at a moment's notice by the police, not by any women out there. Okay, like that shit, it's not transferable. It doesn't make any sense. Okay.
Right.
I just don't think it's ever going to get.
I don't think it should be like imposed on everybody type of a thing.
I'm not for male birth control by force. If somebody wants to take that, yes, but I think there needs to be more comprehensive research and stuff. Female birth control is a little sketchy at times because there have been incidences where they've had to recall stuff because they I think one of them was like the old Yaz. They had to recall it because it was causing like blood clots or something.
Yeah,
like,
that's very
most
common.
birth controls cause.
Yeah, and I hope we get to a place where we're not using things where hormone, because the other thing is a lot of people get blood tests to check their hormones on a regular basis. And actually, technically, birth control, female birth control, is an oral steroid.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's actually a 19 more, and like people are taking.
Of course, he
steroids.
would know
I think
about
we're going to find out
steroids.
decades from now how harmful this actually
has
is, probably for
and-
both sexes.
And like
unfortunately, like the pharmaceutical industry is so based on profit that like if they think men aren't going to take male birth control, they're not going to put in the research, they're not going to create it, they're not going to invest in it. So if we socialize and say, hey, like this is a responsibility men should also have, then we can get research into all birth control to make it safer and more effective for everyone. So that
is the cognitive dissonance on this trans person at an 11? Oh, the people are just socialized to be on big pharma. It's like you've got probably a 5-digit a month bill that you need to pay to Pfizer, Moderna, and all the different AstraZeneca. All right then.
not everyone has to be experiencing these horrible side effects.
Being a mother is the most valuable thing a woman can do.
Yes.
you are a mother.
I am almost, I am a mother, but she'll be born later. When you choose to have a kid, you're putting aside not necessarily what you want to do in the future, because I believe that women have every opportunity to still pursue what they want to do, even becoming a mother. It's very fulfilling, in a sense, to be that selfless, to bring a human being into the world and give everything to them and watch them grow up and become their own person, and to feel that love unconditionally that something materialistic will never give you.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember my life before my son. And it really makes me sad today that more women, 10 years, more women in the United States will be opting out of marriage, out of children. That just is insane to me. It's innately in us to nurture and to love and to care and to create life. We literally give birth. It's an ability, a gift, and it's also, too much is given, much is required. It's a massive responsibility to raise a child, knowing that, as someone said earlier, your children are going to be the future of our planet. Wow,
Okay, I'm going to hear more from the disagreeers.
We're running the
interesting.
moms through the dirt. That's what I heard.
I think it's going to be the most valuable thing that I do in life, to have children and create a family.
Oh, she
It's
cites
just
an
such a
example.
subjective
I'll be
thing.
sad.
There's so many things that people contribute to the world. And for, I think, most women, when they leave this earth sitting on the deathbed, they probably will think the most powerful and valuable thing they've ever done is to create children. There's like the famous quote, the greatest two things that you can leave on this earth when you die is art and children. And I think a lot of people are going to feel that way. I just don't want to subscribe value to somebody who doesn't see that as
I understand.
Or somebody who can't have kids, or just
Go
chooses
figure.
not to.
Can
You know,
adopt.
there's
can
other
adopt.
ways to achieve greatness, but being a mom is a great thing. I think we all.
Being a good mom.
Does anyone?
being a good mom.
Yeah, being a good mom. There's a lot of people who are moms. Not everybody's a good mom.
I was raised by a single mom. On top of that, I was also adopted. So my birth mother
Who's shocked by it? Anybody shocked? No, okay.
had to make an incredibly difficult choice to decide not to pursue raising this child. And then my mother, who is a single mom, raised me and raised my siblings. The thing is she was also like a teacher and a professor and a principal and an administrator. Honestly, what feminism really should be about and is about is making it so that women, if they choose to be a mother and just do that for their entire life, they get as much respect and value and everything that they should be afforded as someone who decides to be a billionaire CEO as a woman.
I would just like to know, okay, what's it like to be chemically castrated and then to just opine about things that you're never going to be able to experience? Just want to know about that.
This movement is teaching women that it's the worst thing you could possibly do, because you're going to lose your money and
I
you're going
disagree,
to...
and I think sometimes some people live in echo chambers, and that might be a problem. But like also,
Oh my
here's the other
God,
thing.
that is so fucking... Just about to say something. Sunday I'll be able to say it if I do a little media stream over on Rumble, but I think you know the word I was going to be using. No, it's just the whole echo chamber thing. It's like the only time that I actually see that put into practice is from the left, is from that side out there, the feminist side of it. Okay, you guys just reinforce bad ideas. Whenever there's a bad idea expressed on the other side of the aisle, it's excised, it's questioned. The whole, you get there's a bunch of people that live in echo chambers. Just fucking check your castle there, stupid.
Are women not having children because it's economically difficult? Because in America, it's really hard to have a kid. It's really expensive.
Yeah, no, it's subsidized by the government, Section 8 housing, food stamps. Okay, and then if you kick the guy out of the house, you are just taken care of by the government. It is incredibly easy to be a single mother, hence why there are so many broken families, broken homes. 40% of children are born to a single mother. I wonder the fuck why. But it's hard, right?
We don't have healthcare. We don't.
You're fine, but not everyone
I
is
know,
fine.
but I'm saying
And, like,
that, you know,
like
what
me and my
the act of
girlfriend,
having a kid takes, two people.
Yes, but me and my girlfriend, we could probably afford a kid, but we right now it's probably not good because of
What's your girlfriend's name, Carl?
You're making that
situations.
decision.
But
When
here's the other thing: not everybody has that decision to make, and it's actually economically really hard to have a kid in this country. Somebody's gonna have to stop working. Somebody's gonna have to make less money. There's not healthcare.
When I had my son, I had no means. I had been trafficked. Obviously, I made the decision to see it as life and to have the child. And I had the child. And I was homeless in Newport Beach 8 years ago. When my son was just still nursing, 10 months old, worked around the clock, and didn't stop until he was almost 5 years old. So until I got my degree. Well,
How do you handle childcare?
And the county pays for it. That's why I'm trying to say we do have resources.
Yeah.
I was a full-time
Yeah,
student,
but that's
and because
Newport Beach. Like that's not everywhere.
California is
And
one of the more
dissect
if you're
every
a
county
single
and see
mom,
which counties offer it.
California is one of the more
Yeah.
exceptional.
So I do think there's resources if you look for them. And I don't think that just saying, oh, it's expensive to have a kid. Like,
Woe is me, I can't have a kid because I'm too poor. No, we live in a country where, like I said earlier, we have the opportunities to pursue what we can and what we want to do. And I don't think the feminist movement has any place to tell someone that they're too dumb or too poor to be able to have a kid.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I totally agree with that, by the way. Okay. And that's what makes America, it's why I love America, even though I've only been there like a handful of times. It's because nothing is guaranteed. you have the opportunity to succeed depending on your work ethic. Okay, is it guaranteed that it's going to work out if you work hard? No. Okay, but you have that opportunity. Okay, and because there is no safety net like other places, other countries around the world, like I can tell you specifically about Canada, all the exceptional people leave Canada. Just think about it. There's a lot of famous Canadians, but what are they though? International players. There's nobody that sticks around in Canada. They leave because the tall blades of grass, they get trimmed by the mower. That's what ends up happening. All of your success becomes all of our success, comrade. I like Alberta. We'll just say that. The rest of Canada, though, if it all fell apart or fell to the Chinese, I wouldn't be too terribly upset.
Absolutely not.
But that is what the feminist movement is doing.
I agree. Yeah, maybe it's not as cool or fashionable to become a parent. Maybe like that's not, what people are valuing. Feminism to me, and I think to the other guys here, is just like viewing the sexes equally and feeling like they should have equal opportunity. I don't think it expands much beyond that. No one here is...
No, you're a feminist, bro. Like, come on. You're just trying to redefine terms, and that's an inherently sneaky characteristic.
Saying it's not cool to be a mom, or women shouldn't aspire to be a mom if that's going to be fulfilling to them. If that's like your path, by all means, I think you should do it. My wife was very specific and like direct with me when we started dating. She's like, I want to have kids. This is important to me. Are you on board or not? And that was a goal that we set for ourselves. But she's not just a mom. There's other things. She has other ambitions. And she can do both of those things, and I think we all feel that that's possible. So when I hear you say, like feminism is saying that like moms can't do this or don't be a mom, I'm not sharing that experience of that information.
We don't shame motherhood. Like our side, we promote it a lot of the times, but whenever you hear the opposite thing, it's usually from the feminists.
Yeah, that's called winning the game if you're in a successful relationship for a woman. Okay, you got the family, you got the kid, you got the husband that you look up to and admire and respect, you got the name, you got the money, you got the security. You fucking won. Congratulations. And like I've been talking with Ron on YouTube, it's like he won as well, man. He gets to live his life over there. That's fantastic stuff. It's different. Both sides are important, okay?
Men need to be masculine to keep their families safe.
Yes.
Of course he's going to step forward. Look at him. I think there's a reason why people love Andrew Tate. And whatever you think about him in regards to what he's being accused of, which he has not been proven, but that's neither here nor there. Men gravitated toward that. Why? Because he spoke to men in a sense of being a man, being a protector, and you have to be in charge of all your faculties and think more critically. So those aspects of masculinity appealed to men because men want to innately protect. If I go on a date and you take me on a date and he's like, no, I wouldn't, but that's okay. And you take me to a dinner and you don't sit facing the door, I'm never going out on another date with you. It's not like we're helpless, like, oh, I can't do anything, but having a man stand by you, protect you and your family and your children, masculinity is very important.
There are situations like...
Yeah, that's what, and just harkening back to what I was talking about crying in front of your girl, that's another reason why you just put a chink in that armor that sets you up as being the reliable source of protection. You don't want to do that because that is an intrinsic male characteristic. Masculinity, good masculinity, well-harbored intentions from men keep society running. What, fucking roads outside for a reason. I didn't see no bitch in a tank top out there, fucking paving the roads back when they were made.
Like, for example, I'm like 230 pounds, my girlfriend's like 110, 5'2". Like, there's no way if somebody breaks in the house that she's gonna fight them off unless she has a gun on her or something. But so in that situation, I would fill that masculine role. But like anybody can be strong, and like in a situation where I'm not there, I would hope if we had kids, she could protect them and defend them like the best she could. Where I get the issue with like, oh, men need to be masculine. It's like, oh, men need to always go work and bring the money and all this stuff. Because my girlfriend, she's highly educated. She actually makes way more money than I do, like way more.
Oh, that relationship's on a shot clock.
I work as a personal trainer. I don't make as much as she does. It is traditionally not very masculine for a woman to make more money than a man. And I know some people, they will be like, oh, you're not a real man if your woman makes more money than you. That's pathetic. Why is she with you? You sound like a loser. Things like that. And
no, when you have body posture that's like that, where you're just sitting there, it's like, okay, you're just trying to look as small as possible. It's like, there are certain circumstances, okay, where you can be putting your girl on the track. Not like that, but okay, she's out there and she's making all the money. As long as you have the frame in the relationship, it can work, but he's almost there. It's like if there was anybody on that side that was going to convert over to the correct side, it would definitely be this guy, but I think his mind's a little bit fucked up. He'll probably be better after divorce. Somebody will pass him along a copy of The Rational Male.
I don't let that define my masculinity. I used to be insecure about it, but now I've grown more mature, and I feel like we're getting to a society where that's less of a problem. And like some people might disagree with this, and like, but it's just my opinion. I think to raise a son, it's easier if you're a man. It doesn't have to be a father. It could be an uncle or some positive role model. Same thing with a positive female role model, because like, I don't know what it's like to be like a female going through puberty, but I was a young man. Right now, a lot of our young men are misguided, and a lot of them are making bad decisions. And it's because like a lot of these young men get this testosterone boost, their brains aren't fully developed, and they like the vast majority of crimes are committed by 16 to 23-year-olds.
Oh my God! Now he's citing crime statistics. All right, just drop a spicy 1352.
The reason I walk forward is about exactly what you just said. Men have these feelings and this aggression often deep inside them, and it's about using that aggression or those feelings that you have to protect rather than to inflict.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just not entirely sure what, like, just masculinity in general
We know.
has to do with keeping people safe.
Could I quickly respond? And that I just think it's that men have that natural propensity towards it. If I think of roles in society that are protectors, we could say police officers. Anybody's going to take on that role of physical aggression in order to stop a bad situation from happening.
Yeah.
Men tend to take those roles, and if you just look at the
Take and excel. Women are now taking them, and
demographics of those roles in particular, men choose to take that on, and they persevere and drive for it.
Let's say I get married to a guy and he wants to be a stay-at-home dad. That's fine.
oh, Tori, nobody's wifing you up.
I enjoy working. So I actually wouldn't be totally opposed to me grabbing the gun if an intruder came in and being the one to kill somebody, if my husband's normally like the one protecting the kids, I guess. I don't think it necessarily matters who's protecting the family, just somebody must.
I like what you said about intuition, though. Like, my wife has a lot of intuition. I think she's better than...
Oh my God, what's her energy like? Do you guys have like good vibes together? I bet your guys' zodiac signs like totally match. Like
me at like helping us avoid unsafe situations.
But to physically combat a stranger that's at your door with a gun and mask on and is breaking in.
Yeah, it's convenient to have someone who's more like him than...
But would you send your wife who's intuitive to use her intuitive
Mm-hmm.
powers to handle that, to
oh, he'd send his wife over to his house.
protect? Or would you use your masculine, my daughter's protected, I'm going down there?
If we get attacked, I'm going to do everything I can to protect my family. That's not men having to be masculine. I just think that's people.
Yes, it is. Okay, because what is a woman going to do intrinsically? Okay, just curl up into a ball. That's just, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just immediately what's going to end up happening. They're just going to, they're going to react emotionally. Whereas men, it's like, okay, shit's going down. Well, it's time to strap up, baby.
Protecting those they love. I think when women are put in situations where they have to protect their families, they can exert tremendous force. Obviously, they're more vulnerable because they're not typically like as strong on average.
Comes full of testosterone, right?
But
Why?
I just don't. I don't think like this is something men have to do. I think you gotta be careful about putting pressure on men to embody some sort of like macho, tough, violent.
I don't think it's macho.
I've had
Pressure creates diamonds, and it also breaks glass. Both of them look the same without the test.
men in my life who like embody that tough role, and it like creates uncomfortable environments. It
He was touched by a priest. I'll put it down on the record.
sometimes invites aggression, danger to the situation. It's a certain role playing that I think men actually, it's beneficial to grow out of.
Why do you think it's a role, though? What if that's just who they are?
It's innately in them.
Well, then I think they should go to therapy and work on it, or
But why
like
do
play
you
a
think-
sport and get out that aggression.
Again, men are raised as defective women. What did he just say? Oh, all of those masculine traits that this guy has, he just needs to work out. He just needs to go to therapy to get rid of them. He needs to be more like he just needs to be more docile and easy to control. Because he actually doesn't want to be a father. He just wants a little toy poodle.
So I understand.
Aggression isn't bad.
I always hear from other male feminists like, oh, that guy's trying to be a macho guy. Why?
Absolutely.
So here's the thing. I think sometimes it's not genuine. He's playing a character. Actually, I'm usually the one to de-escalate situations because of how I look and how I'm presented. So I de-escalate. And actually, I always tell people I don't. And I always encourage young men, avoid the fight.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah, until you open the mouth and it's like, oh, no, I'm scared of you. All right, then.
You can avoid it, stay away. But if you have to, obviously do what you have to do, like survive. And I would say to women or anything, but don't start and actually try to deter, get away, because violence should be always the last resort. Violence only brings more violence.
No, exactly. I can tell you what, I've been in, Jesus Christ, like a handful of fist fights. Most of them, okay, just a little stream exclusive. It was, oh, Jesus Christ. It was normally in service of, I can give you one specific example. Yeah, your boy didn't always have the strongest frame. I know we're being honest and vulnerable here, right? But it was whenever my sister would get in trouble when we were growing up. I fought in school, fought on the school bus, and I fought outside of school. That's 3 that I can immediately remember, but it was all in service to things that I thought I heard or did hear directly. That was discrediting the honor of my sister back when we were in like middle school or whatever. So that's the only reason that I would get into fights. But now I've probably walked away from, oh Lord have mercy, way more than I ever engaged in. Mostly because it's like my size is a bit of a de-escalator, but then at the same time, okay, if it's time to throw down and I want to square up and get sturdy, that's normally a time it's like, you better get the fuck back, walk the fuck off. You don't want any of this, okay? Or I'm not in that, type of mood right now. So, just bringing up the emotionality doesn't really, stand on point. But if I want to get rowdy, we can get rowdy. But chances are that shit's just going to come down, because once you hit a certain age, it's like, do we really want to throw hands over this shit? Not really.
Differences between men and women.
Okay, so what's the question? The differences between men and women should be celebrated. Celebrating shit that's just intrinsic to being men and women, celebrated? Understood, that's what I would prefer, okay? It's like, men are different than women. There's nothing wrong with that. There are certain things that women are better than men are better at. It should be understood. It should be respected. Should it be celebrated? Just celebrating something for something that is just a basic biological fact, I think, is kind of ridiculous, but we'll see. I'd imagine there's probably going to be some takes like that. Don't know, though.
Men should be celebrated.
I'm talking about poles of energy. We have polarity in everything in the universe, from the battery. You can't put 2...
Oh, is that why she put the little goofy thing on her forehead? God damn it, Janelle, you've been so based. But every time that the camera cuts back to her, all I see is just the little, fucking 7-Eleven dot.
negatives into a battery and it work. You can't put 2 positives, has to go flop. So there's poles day and night. Everything, yin yang, it's energy, and we are energy.
I don't think everything's polar, though.
It is, though.
Why apply one lens to the whole
Well, you just stepped
universe?
forward with the prompt that said that masculine men and women differences should be celebrated.
I want to celebrate the difference between men and women, but I feel like you have this tendency to apply sometimes like these quantum or
because
like
it is, because we live in a quantum universe of
macro
masculine
ideas
and
to
feminine
everything.
energy.
But you
It
guys
just
do
doesn't
the
have to
same
be
thing too, though.
I think he's just saying to celebrate differences doesn't mean we exist on 2 opposite poles.
We've spent I'm saying that.
Yeah,
so
like,
I'm saying that.
There's things exist in nature that are triangles or triads. Like not everything's yin and yang.
But it kind of is.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I've talked about this recently as well. It's like, okay, it's most things that you encounter in the world. You can obviously point to the exceptions, but most things that you encounter, there's a right answer and a wrong answer. Now, the nuance in the middle is what you can use to rationalize whatever decision you have, but you're intrinsically just going to have a gut level reaction to a certain thing, and you're going to go that way on it, okay? Most decisions are binary. I would say an overwhelming majority of them, but no, of course, leave it to the Pierre's true air, okay?
I actually believe that the masculine energy is elevated in a sense that they have more responsibility as protector, provider. And so for women, we lean to them and we look up to them as the leader. So not to say that they're not equal, but there's a little bit more responsibility in the masculine field. And without those outlines of structure, then we have chaos and we don't have a society. We have no more children because women aren't having children anymore.
I don't think I fear chaos as much as you. You threw in a little nugget. I have to take it. You do see women as not.
I don't see them as the same level as men.
I would encourage you, from a loving place, to just maybe challenge that.
How
might your experience change if
women,
you saw yourself?
I think women are 4 quarters, a guy is $1. I think they're equal. They're just not the same.
Yeah, I think that the prompt.
Yeah, that's actually an original point from Tori. That's not that bad. It's not that bad because some people just need explanations like that, and it's like they're the same thing, but they are different. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing, nothing inherently off with men and women being different, even though, you just immediately hear, oh my God, we're not the same, even though you grew up, I don't know, 22 years in a male's body, okay? You just have been indoctrinated with all this fucking nonsense, okay? It's like there's such a thing as history. You should go take a look at it.
And what I really took to is that it's so important for you guys to celebrate your femininity and celebrate what it means to be a woman for you. And we will joyfully celebrate that with you, right? And likewise to us. However we want to express our masculinity, that should be celebrated, right?
And, and whichever way you had to do it, and like, you know, like I said, I don't think it's as rigid as like we want society, like some people want us to think it is, but it should be celebrated because there are innate differences that are like just biological, and there's going to be those differences,
and
you know, there shouldn't be
like
anything
such
frowned
as
upon, like you know, women being like more softer, emotional.
Excuse me for 1 second.
But if a man chooses to be that, that should be like,
Christ.
that's feminine, that's not masculine. That's, you know, we should celebrate those qualities in people.
Can the disagree a step forward?
Men are more enslaved than ever before.
This is a tough one, huh?
I agree with most of what everyone said. It's just the should. I agree that the differences between men and women
should.
can be celebrated, and I celebrate it. I think most people do to some extent.
His celebrations involve a rainbow flag. Damn it.
Do as you please. Yeah.
I feel like it's important to celebrate it because I know for me, part of with gender dysphoria, I really
Why are we listening to a mental patient? We're past 2 hours on YouTube, so we can get a little bit more spicy.
enjoyed, you know, emulating and having masculine traits and being a man. So being able to celebrate
You're cosplaying, bro.
that and say, all right, fantastic, I can celebrate that this is a different thing than what my sex assigned at birth would tend to go for. But celebrating both sides of those things and the dichotomy that may be different is really essential.
Sex assigned at birth. I heard that right. I'm trying to pour some water here into my fucking protein shake here. It's whatever, you know, 25 to 8. Okay. I hate when these, you know, the fucking mental patients want to co-opt sex. It's like, no. You can go play in your little gender playground. You go ahead and you go do that, okay? That was a term devised by that fucking treacherous Dr. Money. And again, you know, shout out Winnipeg and fucking Canada for, you know, wasting another generation away. I did a video on that one. That was a long time ago. That one might require a bit of an update. But whenever you try to weasel your way into a sex assigned at birth, no, if you want to have your gender assigned at birth, you go ahead and do that. There's 2 sexes. When archaeologists find this little frail, little busted body with a rope around its neck, you're going to end up going, female, with a bad haircut or bad hairpiece.
So allowing anyone to really just express themselves the way they want to.
Thank you guys. You guys were all amazing.
Thank you.
Very
Shit,
good
it was
sport.
right at the
Yeah, I
end.
wish we could do
Yeah, you
that.
guys did
More
great.
props.
Yeah, you guys, it was all very helpful.
Oh, man.
Got to see another side of feminism.
And not one of them. Oh, just the chick, okay. And the rest of them were just walking off stage, just like they're way too hot. And it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm just the big strong, big strong tough guy that's over there. Yeah, no, I love my girlfriend. He's definitely not gonna go and, you know, beat off to those 2 pairs of tits that he was staring at for the entire time. But you know what? Shout out Jubilee for actually having a good fucking panel that was right there. That was not as infuriating as I was expecting. There was some good conversations that were that were being had there. That's the proper term that I was looking for. But I was really surprised at that. And I know that there's a bunch of other panels that they've done in the past. Like I was going to do a double header, but then taking a look at, you know, the 2 hours that was on there, I didn't have it scheduled. It was just one of the preliminary thoughts that I had when it came to this, because there was also, yes, the traditional, you know, feminist, the female feminist versus like female anti-feminists, or, you know, male masculinity from the perspective of guys versus females. And those are some ones that we can look at into the future as well, because I think that'll be a hell of a lot of fun as well, because those are really good. And then, of course, I also want to do those Vice panels with femininity and masculinity as well, because those are, they're just the best treat ever, okay? So going through those, might have those penciled in for Saturday, but I'm not entirely sure. The week is still young after all, and we don't know what the fuck is actually coming down the pipeline, because for as much as, you know, Bud Light and a bunch of other companies continue to ruin their brand and everything associated with it, there's still something that's probably going to break that's fairly significant in the news. So that'll be about all for the news coverage. I'm just going to peruse the chat real quick, see what you guys are talking about. Shout out for everybody for turning out for this, because I did not expect such a good fucking turnout. Like, holy shit, record-breaking turnout for me, okay? I think we got right up close to 50, okay? Like, over on, I think I seen it peak over 40 on Rumble, which is, wow, thank you for that. I did not appreciate that, or I did not anticipate that. Try to keep the slurping to a minimum, but yeah, I'm really liking Rumble, and I like doing, and you guys are just showing extreme love when it comes to the VODs over there as well. Like every single live stream that has been over there, the views in comparison to YouTube are through the fucking roof. The interactions and everything are fantastic, and especially, like, it was just a lot of fun to shoot the shit about, you know, things that are not political, not really relationship based, but some of my rationale when it came to the Game of Thrones stuff was kind of based on, you know, some of my own opinions. But of course, it's going to be me, so you're going to be getting an influx of my personality on top of that. But yeah, doing something to think, because yeah, I've watched some stuff. Okay, that's at least from this century. Most of everything that I like is from older times long gone on that. But yeah, I want to do something with, like I stated before, do something with Attack on Titan. Okay, I don't know if it'd be a characterless. Maybe it would be, or maybe I'll figure out something to do with that. That'll be in the future, and then, you know, just play some music in the background as well, because Rumble's not gay when it comes to copywriting. And then also, like, I got so much knowledge when it comes to wrestling. Like, I want to do something on that, and just your general run-of-the-mill wrestling coverage is so fucking faggoty. I want nothing to do with any of the people that talk about that shit on the regular. If I have to hear another cucked out, bitched up UK personality go, "Oi, I don't like the fact that Vince McMahon is back because he was mean to women. Did you know about, JBL beat up the Blue Meanie at ECW one night?" I don't give a fuck about your soft bitch ass opinions. Tell me to vote for Labour. Cool. I'll tell you to go fuck off. I don't want to hear your political takes. I would just like to hear some based opinions about wrestling. That shit doesn't fucking happen. So guess what? Your boy's going to end up having to fill the gap. And I'm totally fine with that. And I see that there's some people that do some stuff on Rumble when it comes to that. And then also with reactions as well. Like, we got a little taste of that on Sunday when it came to the Sabaton concert. There's some songs that, you know, I have to stop and appreciate. Last Stand. We do no, we did the Red Baron. Had to, because they had, what was it, Red Baron, Last Stand, and then 82nd All the Way in sequence in the concert that we were listening to. And it's like, well, I can't stop for all fucking three of them. And it's like, it needs some more quality reactions. And yeah, that offer still stands. Whenever we get past 1,000 subs over, or I guess followers, sorry, over on Rumble, I'm gonna break down the most based and red-pilled song that I know about. Okay, it's one of my personal favorites, mostly because of the underlying message that a lot of people miss out on. But that's what I'm thinking about doing for the rest of the week. So just gonna have a drink. Lumpy, fantastic. But yeah, no, like I said, scroll through the chats, see if there's anything y'all are discussing here, and I really do appreciate that. So, what do we got said on this? Feel shocked by the bunky chat poster. Yeah, talking about how fine he was with significant other making more money. Yeah, that one made absolutely no sense there. Yeah, Frosty. Yeah.
It's like, I'm just totally fine with my woman making a lot more, the money that I do, and she's totally fine. She's just a queen that's over there.
Yo, what's up, Roger? Hey, man. I didn't even know you were... I switched everything up. I put out a post earlier, but it's like, given the turnout today right now, it's like everybody turned up for that one. It's good to see you right there. Ed stopped by a little bit earlier. We got Ron turning up once more, and then, you know, the super based crew that's over on Rumble, you know, shout out to you guys. It's like, I think it's a good time. It's a good time frame. Like, I want to go, what I'm thinking of, because there was a good reaction to this, was 6 o'clock, doing it at 6 o'clock so that we're done at a reasonable time for everybody, because I need to be conscious about my friends over there on the East Coast as well, 2 hours ahead, and given the fact that it is a weekday, so start doing it, 6 o'clock, do this at 6 o'clock, and I got some other shit that I need to take care of here over the next hour or so, so whatever, it works out well for me, so I can do some back-end stuff, pause, and then, streaming going forward at this time on Tuesday. Maybe in the future doing a few more streams during the week. But as of right now, one in the middle of the week, one on Saturday, and then if I want to drop some spicy words, we can go over to Rumble, yeah, because, you know, that's just a great ass time. But hey, man, glad that you caught it. Yeah, glad that you came through at the end here, and especially, you know, Wes, you got Frosty, you got Ron over here on YouTube. You guys have been blowing it up, going back and forth in the chat. Sorry, I was very engaged with the video that was right there and responding to it, and, you know, hopefully I provided some value for you guys, because that was a lot of fun. But yeah, no, I wasn't as active as in the chat as I would have liked to be, so it's just, yeah, when there's good content like that, I gotta stay on top of it. It's a one-man show after all, guys. Like, come on. So see what's going on over here over on Rumble. Like, if you guys have any questions or comments or anything like that, you just let me know and I'll address it. It's absolutely no problem with that. And Pacer, me, Mimetic, of course, man, you guys are so fucking based over here, just having like a hilarious conversation back and forth. And then Drunk Pedestrian, shout out to you, buddy. I seen you, you stopped through on Sunday. Yeah, it was fantastic to see everybody turn up as well. Remember Bill Maher said, yeah, the gay agenda growing, we'll all be gay by 2050. It'll be about the end of society, I would imagine. Yeah, and Bree, shout out to you guys for turning up on this one. Yeah, no, I super appreciate everybody turning up for this. So what do I got for tomorrow for videos? Oh, Jesus, I would have to check my back. Oh, I got the camera up, so at least I can check that. Give you guys just a little bit of the background on that. It was hard to watch. Yeah, the panel, like, come on. That was fun. Side of that. It's just gonna check what we got for videos. It looks like you guys are liking the Dylan Mulvaney video. If you checked that one out earlier, that one went up about half an hour before the stream. But I got something on Canada. Oh, and then I also got something absolutely how do I want to say this without spoiling it or anything like that? A very popular personality just exposing how stupid and the lack of pattern recognition the guy has is off the charts when it comes to this. Should give you a pretty good example of who I'm going to be talking about. But run through the chat one final time before we close it out, and that I release you all into the world. It was the same people who had this mimetic there. Pearl was on the Vice panel, and she was the one who was exceptionally good on that. Sydney Watson's on that panel. That's mostly why I want to go over there and watch that one as well. It's just Vice. They copy claimed the Trump video that we did last Wednesday. Okay, so that one I got to watch for sure, but I think we did a pretty decent job of cutting this up as well and then just adding value over top of it as well. So yeah, the Vice panel that's over there, that one's definitely on my radar when it comes to watching some shit from there. Okay, and just notice your checker panel sounds different. Oh, sound of you. I got these guys right here. I got them from Amazon. They came pre-shrunk, and it's very interesting the way that you apply those. Okay. You take them and you just dunk them in a little bit of water. There's a bit of a smell that's on there. It wasn't terribly bad. It's either that or my nose is completely fucking busted. Both of which is, the highly possible after all. But yeah, they were only like $30 or some shit like that. And then I just got a little Velcro. What do you got? The command strips that are on the back there? Yeah, you got the Velcro on the back there. And then it just adheses on there. And yeah, 2 of them on each except for on the corners there. I like them. It gives a nice little decent background, but since I kind of edit everything up a little bit, but it just it helps with anything that's going on in the background. Yo, this fucking YouTube shit is so retarded. It says that at some point in time I had -2 viewers. It's like you guys have been in the fucking chat the entire time. This place is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Yo, Roger, you better bring that cupcake. You better bring that cupcake energy. Oh, God, if you guys weren't here, or I think you can even check it on the replay, the Andrew Tate live stream. All of the live streams, even the ones that are unlisted, they're in a playlist. I don't think that one made it to Rumble. That was before I found the plugin. But if you want to relive the insanity that was our good friend Cupcake, who was just dropping paragraphs of... just high tier feminism, yeah, that's the stream for you for about the first half an hour. I think Ed decided to just, it's like that's enough of you. Get the fuck out of here. So that shit was fun. Brittany Venti is going after Pearl. I don't like Brittany Venti. I think that she's a bit of a spurg. Brittany Venti, yeah, going after Pearl, was in her live stream earlier, making fun of Britt because they both, yeah, the same to me. I put Pearl a little bit higher. I think she's a touch of a grifter. She did completely yank her entire style from FNF, but she at least believes what she's saying. Brittany, on the other hand, she's always just going to fall back on the, it was just a joke, bro, or however Hammerhead Sharks talk. Okay? She gets by on her looks a lot. Still do the 2 a.m. streams too. Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. So, but yeah, I've never liked Brittany Venti. I've heard about her, Christ almighty, because she used to be around during the Sargon of Akkad streams way back in the cut in like 2015 when I first hopped on this side of the internet. Okay, so she was, I've heard about her. She's been a grifter forever, and I definitely didn't like the way that she went after Kevin Samuels right before he died, and especially all of the glee that she had in her, you know, it's the nicest one. Oh, right, we're after 2 hours. The giant landing strip she calls a forehead in between her eyes. That was, yes, very, very noticeable on her face when Andrew Tate both got banned and then also snatched up by the authorities. There's no coming back for that one. So, yeah. Checkerboard sound panels from. Yeah, so I think we're pretty good over here. On the left, wearing a I didn't even was that a fucking Ukraine flag coat from that little? It is yellow and blue. Ugh, God, or maybe he's just a big simp for the Jubilee channel. But all of that said, yuck. Okay, so yeah. Brittany Venti is a run-through Twitch streamer. Bree, I'm glad you're back in the chat, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. There's a reason whenever you type her into the search bar, that public boyfriend freak out is one of the things that comes up immediately because those who accuse others of being grifters so loud, they're the ones that have skeletons in their closet. Just saying. But yeah, Vice was different. There's one of these with Pearl. Yeah, that's the Vice one. Vice was different. I don't know which one of her eyes to look at. Yeah, that's the best thing, okay? Because you can cheat with Brittany Venti on whoever you're with because she'll have one eye on you and one eye on the door. That's fantastic stuff, okay? That's some expert level tricks that are out there. So without having to give up the rest of my sauce, I really appreciate all of you guys hanging out for this. And then just about 30 people that are hanging out during the bullshit portion of this stuff. Yo, shout out to you guys. Big fucking shout outs. I can finish my protein shake to that. And it's like, I don't know why you guys are tuning into this. There are so many other things that you can be watching, but I think we found ourselves a winning time to be out here. So for Saturday, I think I'll probably try to find a couple of those Pearl panels. How about that? How about that meme? I think you got me on a mission on that one. So we'll go ahead and do that because, or if we're feeling extra spicy, there's some clips for when she initially had Nick Fuentes on and she went on that whole apology tour. I don't even like Nick Fuentes like that, but that sure as fuck could be fun. Yuck. That's pretty fucking gross. But the boys got some editing to do to make sure that the video for tomorrow is going to go up on time. And then also some shit about some potential wedge issues that Biden's trying to push across in order to not pay attention to the guy that's right behind the curtain. So, yeah, of course, it's just another day that ends in Y, right? So, thank you all very, very much for turning out on this one. You know, man, you guys supporting this stuff when you don't have to at all, it means the world to me. And especially the tough grind it's taken to get to this point. Okay, so thank you very much for giving a guy with a small platform a shot. I definitely do appreciate it 1000%. So, and with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.